On today's episode of the Apex, the podcast, the boys bring on Sentinels Keon. He gives his side of the story on the save Watson incident where he was able to get Watson, bring him over to his house so that they could grind together. He also goes through his history in Apex Legends, how he got into the pro scene, how he got with Sentinels, and explains some of the weird situations that have happened along the way, including the weird disbandment of the guard, and gives his breakdown and analysis on all things going on, including how Sentinels have had their run so far in this second split. The boys also talk about day 6 of ALGS and all of the storylines that went along with that. And then on the other side, we have a fun little game where we go and we pick pros based on dollar amounts. It came from a Redditor. I forgot the Redditor's name right now, but it will be said in the actual show. And then we also go through with the heart-to-heart and talk a little bit more about the state of scrims. So without further ado, ladies and gents, let's get into the show. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. We are fresh off of day 6 ALGS, and we're going to go over all of the storylines, the standings, the players who stood out, and all that good stuff, as well as the overall standings, and break down the action from this last week of ALGS. But before we get into all of that, let's say hello to the fellas. Finn, how are you doing, my man?
You know, I'm doing well. Today has been a pretty fun day, and right before we recorded, I got a nice little kava bowl. Have you heard? Do you guys have kava where you guys are? You know what kava is? No? Okay. It's like a Greek restaurant, but it's like Subway style Greek food. I know that sounds not good, but it's like high quality Greek food, I guess is what I would say. So I had a nice bowl before I, started the pod. I really think that it's going to be a game changer for my performance on the pod. So, my week was pretty good and pretty average, pretty normal. So, Enoch, what about you? How was your week?
It's been a week. It's had its ups and downs. Figuring it out, just doing the best we can. But yeah, I've been doing a solo to masters challenge. And the first legend I'm doing it on was Valk, because the account that I'm using on it has had a Valk heirloom, and so I was like, all right, bet. Well, that makes that decision pretty easy, because I'm planning on doing it like once on every legend, and so the grind. First day super fun, super great. Second day super fun, super great. Today was Diamond Day, which had its moments, but we did make it into D2, and so I think I'm like almost like 1,500 away. And so then after we do that, I'll probably play Realm for a little bit, or find or start like the next legend. So that's been fun. And yeah, just been super busy getting a lot of stuff done. And yeah, the one thing that's super exciting, that is Words, the project that I had mentioned a few weeks back about like the program that I was going to be starting up. I actually am hoping to get that out by the time that this episode is live, and so I'm super excited about that. I'll be like posting on Twitter and basically everywhere about it, and so then I gotta like make some good vids to convince people that it's worth the time and the investment. And so I've just a lot of things working, and getting through all the bad stuff, and just being like, okay, got to go through it to learn and grow, and just learning and growing and figuring it out.
Beautiful. I wanted to ask real quick, have you gotten to get in there and play Realm yet? Because I know you said you were going to do the solo to masters challenge first. Have you had any action in Realm yet?
Yeah, so I did play one day. I played, I think, about 7 games, and I ended plus on points, which was huge. Shout out Luxford for the hard carry on our we literally got gifted zone. It was actually like the easiest game to win ever. I played Seer, and I had like, I don't even want to talk about how much damage I had that game, but we won. And it was good though. I think it's a good environment. I think it's really good compared to ranked. Because like ranked right now, if I feel like if you were to play ranked the way that everybody's been playing ranked, it'd just be like an absolute miserable experience. Like if you're not doing it in some form, like if you're not mixing it up in some way or the other, it's just not going to be super fun. Like from the queue times to just the amount of times you run into cheaters to the apparently people have been getting DOS really bad, and so I haven't had that happen too crazy. But yeah, it's definitely so Realm. I believe they pushed back their schedule, so the games ended around like 10ish my time. So I think it's like 4 to 10, and so like that's kind of like at the super end of my like schedule. And with all the other stuff that I've been working on, I've been trying to keep my streams around like the 8 to then maybe 10 hour range, but typically around that 8. So I did play the one day, and I definitely plan on playing in the future, but not too crazy. What, Finn? Why are you laughing? Did I just keep talking forever?
No, it's just funny. No, you're good.
How's your Realm experience been?
Well, okay, I have only played 10 games. I realistically probably shouldn't be in Realm, and the reason why is because I haven't played enough games. But I did. I was good. Like, well, I was top 70 elo in North America, which was
That's
really
30.
good for the amount of games that I played. I was lucky enough to have some, pretty solid teammates. My best teammate that I had was Keon, which we got a third place, and I had a juicer game. But besides that, I haven't necessarily had the most no-name IGL, whatever. But that doesn't really matter in Realm. Like, you can kind of like makeshift and do your own. But I will say, I think it's awesome. I really enjoyed it, but I don't play enough, so therefore I don't know if I should be in it right now. But I'm glad to hear that you are. Wyatt, I want to hear about your week, but you first have to talk about Love Is Blind first, and then
Yeah, I got
then
you.
you can get into it. Is that
Well,
okay?
that was going to be my week. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Enoch, wait, hold on. Enoch, were you done, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so Love Is Blind was basically my week. I was preparing for the premiere. For context, I was never a big reality TV guy until Love Is Blind season 1 came out during the pandemic, and then I just was bored and I just watched it, and it was fun to watch just because I just try to relate everything back down to sports, and I was trying to like figure out which type of couple they would be based on like different sports positions, and I was just like kind of comparing them, and I ended up like writing some blogs about it. I'm sure I could find them, but they were pretty funny, and I just enjoyed watching just the chaos, the absolute chaos. So this season was very interesting. I don't want to say too much because Finn just started it, but I watched the final premiere, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way the season went. There was definitely some people that I hated, and there was definitely some situations that pissed me off. But it ended up like being pretty solid and pretty good all the way around. So got to watch that with the family, and that was fun. Just watching Love Is Blind with the lady, and then I also did something crazy. Went to a restaurant and ordered the most expensive thing on the menu, which I've never done, but I felt like such a baller. I think it was like Norwegian bacon wrapped elk, dude, dude,
Love
that
to
shit
see
was
it.
good. That shit was so good. And then I ordered like a spicy crab something tostada. It was so fancy. And because they took so long to bring it to me, I got it for free. And I was like, I didn't even complain. Like, I literally just sat there. I was eating my elk, and they're like, the tostada should have never come after your main course. We're so sorry. This is on us. And I had like a mouthful of elk, and I was like, okay, like sweet. So I got a tostada for free. Dude, it was just a great experience, dude. It was cool. I felt like a big baller, and it was just a nice little date with the lady. So my week was good. Feeling good, feeling great, and even better made by the fact that ALGS was back on. It was back. It was just back. It's been way too long. I was live tweeting the entire Lanimals. Like, I was watching. I had Lanimals right in front of me on my laptop. I had the main stream up on the TV, and I was just paying hard attention to my boys, the Land Daddies, I've created a new hashtag. You can follow along with it. Hashtag L2L, Lanimals to Land, because that's our vibe right now. That's where we're headed. That's the wavelength we are on. But boys, let's kind of break down day 6, starting with, let's go through the results here real quick. Optic Gaming, holy shit, 97 points. Second place had 58. It wasn't even close. Optic Gaming was first overall. Second place, we had the Wildcard Gaming, which, by the way, is I'm Madness, Shuby, and Reptar. For people who haven't been like keeping along, they got signed by Wildcard Gaming. Then we had Dark Zero at third, Complexity at fourth, and FaZe at fifth. Some other notable teams out there, TSM finished seventh. We had Sentinels right below them at eighth. And then the Lanimals, they finished 13th. But if you take away the last 2 games, they're probably top 5. That's just my own personal thing. I'm coping. 15th place was NRG, 16th, 100 Thieves. And Glitch Gaming, who started off the season really, really hot, they finished in at 18th. So those are some of the other notable names out there. The winners of all of the matches here, TSM won the first game, and they looked promising going into the rest of the day, but things kind of started to fall off the rails a little bit. Optic Gaming then went back-to-back, followed up by Dark Zero, getting game 4. Optic then won their third game of the day in round 5, and Complexity finished it off in game 6 with the dub. Boys, lots of storylines to talk about here, but I want to go into the first one here. Rambo is back, and people are very mad. They have a lot to say about the subject. There's many things that people are having to say about this. Rambo obviously joining Dark Zero, and they get a third place finish today. There was also some awkward moments in late game rings where Dark Zero and Sentinels were in the same ring. Let's just kind of talk about it from our perspective. I know there's a lot of discourse out there on the Bluebird app, but what do you guys feel about the decision? How are you guys feeling about Rambo and Dark Zero and the entire situation as a whole?
Well, I think about an hour ago, he went on Fallout's stream, and I was watching and listening to a little bit of it. And he did seem like he was pretty remorseful, and like he did want to apologize. Because he felt as though he didn't go about it the correct way, and he admitted that, and he fully admitted it, and he apologized for it. So I think that there is something to be said about owning up to the way he went about it, which was not very cash money, as people would say, for the Sentinel squad. Whenever you're retiring, and then 2 weeks later, after Realm like popping off, you get an opportunity to go play for DZ. And it's just, I guess my first thought, and mainly my only thought, is like I do think that there is a genuine side of Bo that really did think that he was done competing for a while, but he just was given a pretty solid opportunity that he took it. But I do think the way he went about accepting that spot on DZ is what kind of where he messed up. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to keep going forward. I did see Keon and Bo were teammates in Realm today a few times. I thought that was pretty funny, dude. That was pretty funny. But they were civil. They were civil about it. But I know that the Sentinel boys are hurt, and I know Rambo kind of feels pretty bad right now. So that's my thoughts. What about you, E?
Yeah, as you said, obviously, Bo, he definitely wishes he would have done things differently. And, people make mistakes, people learn, people grow. This is definitely something that he'll learn and grow from. But I think the biggest thing that I'd want to talk about in regards to the situation is how commendable the way that RKN and Keon are handling it on their end. Because, obviously, they're in a position where they feel pretty snaked, and rightfully so to a certain extent. But instead of lashing out and being throwing stones on Twitter, as oftentimes people tend to do in the Apex community, they've really just been pretty stand up about it, and aren't really throwing Rambo's name into the mud or anything. Obviously they're yeah, we wish that it was handled better, but they're gonna be civil about it. And so I think it's really admirable from their end. on the way that they're handling it. And hopefully this is a learning experience for Bo where he will do better in the future next time if he ever ends up in a similar situation like this again.
I'm going to take a completely different angle on the entire situation because I think you guys have a closer tie to um within the community. Like you guys are a big part of the community, whereas I'm kind of just like I watch everything. I know what's going on, but I'm not necessarily like in the discords chatting it up with all these people. I will say from a viewer perspective, this is awesome. Like having Rambo back in the game, having the drama of Rambo going up against his old team in late game circles, having Sentinels still being like a very good team even without Rambo. They're sitting 13th right now, and there's a good chance that they can make it in. They would have to have a few like really good days to make it in, but if they get in, this is awesome. Like this is going to be great to have the drama, having all that happen, and then having like this entire backstory kind of build up to where if Apex Esports was smart, they would really highlight this if Sentinels is able to sneak in. That's what they should do. I don't think they will, but they should do that because this is what makes sports great: is the rivalries, the background drama, all of the different things. Going behind. Like even this offseason, I think Tom Brady was trying to snake his way into going to the Miami Dolphins, or no, not this offseason, last offseason, he was trying to leave Tampa Bay and go up the road to Miami, and he was trying to snake his way because he didn't like what was going down with Tampa Bay. All of this is unconfirmed, but I believe it in my brain. So I think, and there was just drama surrounding that where everybody was kind of, it was a huge talking point with a lot of the talking heads around the NFL. This is awesome for us as far as just being able to have something to look forward to, something to watch, something to talk to. And by us, I mean the viewer, somebody who's out there like ready to chomp on everything the ALGS has to offer. So I think this is really good. And it's also just good to have a personality like Rambo back in the scene. We thought he retired. We thought he was gone. That's a guy who brings the passion. That's a guy who brings the energy. He's funny. Like this is a very good personality to have around your game. And for him to come back into it is awesome. Like I can't really complain about that. I think in his introductory video with DZ, they had him being like, get me a beer, get me a cig, and let the good vibes ride or something like that. He said that.
I think he said like no mom is safe. Like
yeah,
like that's what it
in
is.
an intro. That's what this needs, dude. We need more of a personality. Like and having this guy in there is personality. So yes, was it a little snaky? Probably. I don't know everything that went behind the scenes, but I don't care. Like this is going to be awesome for the rest and the remainder of the final few days. And if Sentinels makes it in, it's going to be even more juicy. So I love this as a viewer. Like I said, I don't know the full behind the scenes stuff. And for somebody who's been on a team and who has had teammates and maybe had teammates kind of do this thing to you, it probably doesn't feel great. And I feel for the Sentinel guys, but they had a decent day. It wasn't their best day, but they had a decent day. They had a third place and a second place, so finished 8th overall on the day. So there's some situations where they could sneak in here if they get some banger days, and they have a full redemption arc that they can kind of like. Let's see if they can bounce back. Let's see if they can use this as fuel and make it into that next level. So, that's my whole take on the entire situation. I think it's very cool. It'll be interesting moving forward. Another big storyline here: Optic Gaming is on an absolute tear.
Cooking.
I know we've had days where people win 2 games. Have we ever had a day where people win 3 recently that we can remember since the show started? I think it's only been like 2. 3 games won by Optic.
I think it was the only thing that happened was I think it was Alliance. I think did that in EU, or it could have been Fire Beavers. It was one team in EU. Can't think of it, and I'm sorry. Shout out to them, but I think it was them, and then maybe an Apex South or North team or South team. Excuse me. No, for North America, no. I don't. I'm looking through right now, and I don't see. I mean, Optic absolutely had a banger the last time that they played on day 4, but and because they won, But this wasn't even close, dude. We have nothing. We've had nobody that's done 3 wins in one series, like a
Since the
6-game
show
set.
started.
Yeah.
Exactly. We got 1 win, 8 kills, 1 win, 11 kills. We had a second place, 9 kills, where they probably should have won. And then we had another win, 8 kills, and then another second place, 6 kills. I mean, they were just on a tear. And as Enoch would say, cooking. What do you see from their perspective that's making them just rip through these lobbies?
I think we're finally seeing them meshing as a team and executing as they know they can. Because like we at the beginning of the season, like they haven't had as much time playing together. They were a newer team. Now we're seeing them more in like mid-season form, and they've been playing together a while. They've got some composition changes. They got knocked on the cat, and he's absolutely doing really well on that, excelling in his role there. And we really just see a team that is used to playing together, and they have a fantastic IGL and dropped, and he's able to really just put them into the right spots. And just from an individual level, I feel like Drops is playing insanely well. And he really has been like the biggest difference in this team, and just his individual ability to like raise the level of the team. We're actually able to see it now that they're actually used to playing together. And so I think that this is a team that is only going to continue to get better, stronger, more consistent, and more of a problem for every other team in NA. What about you, Fen? What do you think?
Yeah, we were alluding to this a little bit before we started recording. We were just talking about just like how insane it was in from just our own perspective of what it looks like for a team to be that dominant by winning by 39 points to the second place. Like that really is a complete dominance form, and it reminds me a lot of old Optic, like late 2021, early 2022 Optic, that was winning everything with the Val Caustic Gibby meta. And I will say the only thing that has changed about that team since then is now having dropped on the squadron. And I would also argue that Cat is now in the meta. And so I don't know. It is a combination of the two, like you said. I don't know which one's more. Is it more dropped, or is it more so the like the meta has changed differently in competitive? So I don't know what it is, but it doesn't really matter because they're getting results. I will say they can toss a game. They literally tossed the win in game 4 and they got second place, but like they should have won that game. They also had no business winning game 3 or game 2. I think it was game 3. Yeah, do you know why?
Game 3, it was in the middle of
right underneath Mirage Voyage, right?
Yeah, and it was all water. There was nothing in the circle other than it was like they were sitting inside of a little bin, and then I think on the other side was Complexity, and then up top was Meat Lovers. And somehow they win that game. I don't know how Meat Lovers lost that game.
Dude,
I
don't
really
either.
don't know. But yeah, Optic pulls out that win. They throw up the Catalyst wall at the perfect time, and then they're able to just out battle Meat Lovers, and they win the game.
And then somebody did that to them. DZ did that to them on World's Edge, where like DZ threw their wall up first, which should mean that you're going to lose because of the zone, like just how it is. And then they ended up getting bodied by DZ. So it was kind of like a reverse Uno card, on onto them. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. You had one game that you flopped, and that was the first game you get 15th place, and they died on a Skyward dive. Actually, because I went back and watched. None of these guys are streaming, by the way. Why? I don't know. They could be farming. They would be absolutely farming viewership right now if they were streaming. But they might be pulling the full suite, a strategy of never giving your opponent any, an upper hand advantage. But I will say it is nice to see Optic back on top. we all know how good Noct is, and it feels like Noct is, dude. I don't know. Noct and Skittlecakes both seem like silent killers to me. I don't know. That's just my perspective. And then dropped,
Incredibly
it was like,
talented players, like just insane.
They're so good, but they're not like you never see them be flashy. It doesn't feel like it. They're not flashy. They don't seem to talk that much trash, or at least I can't. I mean, I don't know if I can say that completely, but they do talk a little trash. But they're pretty just like
Nox definitely preyed on some downfalls before. Nox has 100% been preying on some downfalls, no doubt.
No, you're right. And there's a lot of memes surrounding Noct for sure. But I mean, we all know that he is an extremely well-rounded, absolute beast on the sticks. But it's just, I don't know. It's nice to see that them finally get their groove, and that this almost guarantees them a spot like at LAN, which is a really good thing for Optic and the brand and just the overall game. Them and FaZe pretty much guarantee themselves a spot, which is pretty nice for the scene. So I guess that's really my final thoughts for OG is they can have one bad game, but then they pop off the other 5. It's just like, that's just an unreal performance if they can keep that momentum going into finals and into to LAN. Well, they're a pretty scary team. You're not going to want to fight them.
So how are we feeling about a TSM LAN appearance?
So I saw how Wyatt you maybe you start, Wyatt. I think you should start.
I don't know. I don't know. They do this all the time. They start the day with like a really good game, and then they'll just kind of trail off as the day goes on. And I'm not really sure what that is or the reasoning behind it. I mean, they showed what TSM is with a first place 14 kill, and it was, I don't even know how they ended up winning that game. There was a fight nearing the end of that match where I think there was like 3 teams converging on them on this fence, and somehow Evan doesn't die, and all the other teams kill each other, and then he's able to finish it off, and then he gets the reses, and they end up winning that game. But they look good, but you could honestly call that lucky, because any one of those teams decides to shoot somebody else, I mean, they could really be looking bad here. 7th on the day. Right now, their overall standings, they're sitting 8th, but they've also played the most amount of days. So they're trending upward for sure, because their last 3 appearances were 10, 16, 13, which you're going to want moving forward. But I think if they're going to make LAN, they're going to need to have that 120-pointer to keep them within that range, because this is where we're starting to see some of those teams fall off. Some of those teams that we saw early on sticking around, like Team Diverge and who was the other one that started off pretty hot?
Glitch Energy.
Yeah, Glitch Energy. Those 2 teams starting to trail off a little bit. Glitch with a 5 and a 2 on their last 2 days. We're starting to see everybody kind of separate here. If they can really take advantage of the situation by getting like a good solid 20 kill day, relaxing, getting in there, getting their spots, focusing up, I think we'll be okay. I think everybody needs to have TSM in LAN. I think it's just better for the sport. It's the same thing I've always said, like, no matter how much you hate the Dallas Cowboys, it's better when they're in the playoffs, because even if they do fail, they're bringing eyes to the game. And if they do succeed, they're bringing eyes to the game. So I need to see them in there. I'm just starting to get a little worried here, because they do have the max amount of days. And there's some teams out there who've only played like 3 who can pop off and change the course of their entire placement here. But what do you think, Finn?
Well, first off, I don't love Hal's energy. He tweeted last night after they got 7th place, 6th place. They didn't finish well. What was it? They finished 7th place, yeah. And
they got a good amount of points. They could have finished way worse.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. And to more reiterate, by the way, Wyatt, you're spot on. Day 4, they win the first game, 9 kills. They ended up in 10th place. Day 5, let's see.
They ended up in 8. Well, no, hold up. My fault.
No, you're good. You're good. Day 5, TSM has one good, their first game. They get 4th, though. That was like a great day. And then TSM, of course, day 6 wins the first game, and then they get 7th. So like they can't really, they're not capitalizing on their like jump of the gun. And so I think that was a really solid point why that you brought up. It's like a really weird trend that they end up having. But for the like, I don't know why Hal has this mentality that they can't get in, because realistically, as long as they're in the top 20, they have a chance to, because on the finals, as long as you're in the top 20, you make it to regionals. And what regionals is it becomes match point format. But even if you don't win match point format, your points that you get that day, so say you get second place, even though you don't win, that would be 21 points added onto your total. So like realistically, all they have to do is have like 2 pretty solid days in a row. Granted, it'll depend on what these other teams do beforehand, but I don't see this team not making regionals, which would be top 20, which would give them a shot but then they have to win the match point format. So I just don't like that mindset of them just saying, him pretty much like giving up on their team. Like I really don't like that. But for all those that don't know, they still have a chance to make it to land. They just have to have a pop-off day / win regionals, like which was going to be match point format. So they still have a shot. But yeah, it will be very bad. Not very bad. It will be pretty bad for the scene if Hal's not there for land. But
What do you think, E?
What were you saying, E?
Oh, I was saying that like they had 7th, but like that's their second best day. I mean, he was that upset about their second best performance. I mean, like, and I get it. Like, I get from his perspective how like they demand excellency from themselves at all times, but I think you got to focus on the fact that like, okay, we got enough points to keep us in the running to make it happen. Focus on going next, and we did see some very un-CEO like tweets coming out. Some very bad vibes on the TL. But, you know, everybody has those moments. I mean, Hal's no different. Man was down bad for a little bit following a time where he just didn't perform the way that he would have wished. And so I'm sure that he's going to be regaining this week. And that the next time that TSM plays, he's going to have a locked in head on his shoulders. And he'll be ready to play his best Apex to hopefully give them the best chance they have. Because I will agree with you all that it is better for Apex as a whole if TSM makes it because of how diehard that TSM fan base is. I do think it would be interesting to see what the impact of TSM not making it would have on LAN in terms of numbers, and whether or not those fans would still show up for Apex or if they're only showing up for TSM. And if they do, and if those fans still show up to Apex despite TSM not being there, it is an opportunity for an organization to have a pop-off LAN and grow their fan base at a potential that, like, I mean, if you had an opportunity to play in LAN where the biggest team isn't there, that's a lot of fan base that you could potentially have the opportunity to sway in terms of being like, oh, maybe I do want to be an Optic Gaming fan. Maybe I do want to be an Elevate Gaming fan when the boys win LAN, and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that does happen, it does have a pretty unique potential there, and we'll see what happens.
I will say this, and it needs to be called out, but Hal's macro was pretty atrocious this day. And that happens, like, again, Enoch, like you said, like, it happens. But their macro was pretty rough, and it felt like a lot. I mean, I think this is maybe an IGL thing for everybody, but I think it's hard for Hal to take responsibility for
that's definitely
his actions,
fair.
bro.
That's 100%. Like, are you referring to the one play that they did outside of Frag East?
Yeah.
That one, that was bad.
It's just like, bro.
I mean, because I can understand where he's coming from, and with the way that Reps was calming it, he almost made it he like I guess from House perspective, with how safe of a play that they did have, reps didn't communicate that confidence
Right.
in the spot, and reps made it seem like it was more of like a 50-50. We might be able to play here. I'm not sure. It could be good. Instead of the what it ended up being of, oh, it's super free. We should definitely take this. And we should definitely take this. Like, I think that's more so where Hal was coming from. But it definitely was just all allocation and blame kind of just put on to others.
Dude,
Which is
it's kinda
definitely something
bad.
that he does have a tendency to do. But I'm sure that is going to be I guarantee you that TSM will learn a lot from the VOD review. And I think this is going to be an area where Raven is going to be able to come in clutch, be a little voice of reason, and really just make sure that everybody is on the same page. And so I think this week is going to be like one of the most like valuable that Raven will have as a coach, in terms of being able to make sure they're like solid heading into their last few days. But if Raven can help get things in order, like we've seen him be able to do in the past, I think TSM can return to their dominant form that we have seen, especially coming off their strong land. Dude, it is wild to think that a team who just won, I mean, we saw it with Dark Zero. Dark Zero wins back-to-back lands and barely quals. And I guess it was just TSM next up on the script to have the win.
Who's writing
and then
the
barely
script?
Dude, I mean, whoever it is, it's kind of fire, low
Dude,
key.
okay.
Low key, whoever's writing the
this.
script for ALGS, like, it ain't bad.
It's a good story. I think right before we get into finals, we should do a segment called Writing the Script, and we all come up with our own script of how we think is going to go. Like, not every single team, obviously, but kind of like outlining like little different
storyline.
things.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we post our script and see who ends up getting the most right along the way. I think it'd be fun. You could be like, NRG gets really close, but they're not able to get the match point. They're the first one to get and then we just kind of go through our own script. I think it'd be a fun little segment. So keep your ears peeled for that. I wanted to go back to something Enoch said with the new organizations or other orgs who maybe aren't as prominent in Apex getting a name for themselves in Apex. If TSM doesn't make it, you look at the first two names here, FaZe, Optic Gaming. Dude, if those fan bases can become rampant on their Apex team, oh my God. We're going to have a massive four that we've never seen. We're going to have FaZe, Optic, NRG, and TSM all battling in Apex. It's going to be sick. Like, it's as much as I want TSM in there, if they're not in there, it would be really cool to have all those. And those are just the big names. We're not even talking about the teams who are extremely good, who don't always get the same credit because they're not as big of an org like the X set. You know, would you guys say Furia's like a smaller?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're pretty popping in SA. I'm pretty sure
they're big,
like,
but just not in North America.
Yeah. So then we could, you get the Furia fan base going here in North America. Then it's like there's so many possibilities with that, and all of those teams I mentioned can win. Even 100. I mean, 100 Thieves. They technically were winners, but that was before they were 100 Thieves.
And it wasn't the same roster technically.
But. Yeah, it was technically not the full same roster, but. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for some of these other orgs to get not only a foothold in gaming, because some of them already have that, but just a foothold in Apex, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing for us. Boys, I have another storyline that nobody's talking about, and I'm going to read a stat to you, okay? There are only 3 teams that have all 3 of their players in the top 25 in kills. The first one is Optic. The second one is FaZe. Can you guys guess who the third one is?
Meat.
No.
There's ain't no way that Tech's in top 25 in kills, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
He's like in 40th. I checked.
Mr. Cameraman, ain't no way.
Listen.
Hold on.
Let me. No, don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, don't look it up, though.
Don't say it. I'm not going to look it up. I just want to look at the. Okay, so you said what are the first 2 teams?
FaZe and Optic Gaming.
Okay.
And one other team.
It's got to be a team that's played the most games, though. It's got to be.
Yeah. Dude, man. Ooh.
Wild card.
I'm
Gaming?
gonna say complexity.
And Enoch gets it right.
Wild card was a bad take because you know how many that roster. That roster that's been changing every other week. You picked.
Yeah, that's
them?
bad. That's
That's
bad.
the
I
tough
meant.
part.
Sorry, that's on me. Yeah, that's on me. I don't know. Maybe Reptar had a crazy week or something. I don't know.
Reptar win. He was shooting nukes.
Team Complexity is
Let's
quietly
go.
becoming one of the best teams in this split so far, and we have a connection because we've had Cody on the show.
Yes, sir.
He was a
And Luda.
fill-in.
and Luda.
And Luda.
And Luda. Sorry. And Luda. I only bring up Cody first because Cody was a fill-in last season, and he, along with his teammates, are sitting in a top 4 position where they are all top 25 in kills, along with two of the two teams that are tied for first place in the fucking league. Complexity is not getting the love they deserve. This team is doing great. I don't know what it is, but Luda is on an absolute tear. Cody is great.
They made the swap of having Cody play Bangalore. Different team.
They're insane. And Monsoon out there is IGLing them to like all of these great spots. They're always in the late game. They're always there. Like you just know Complexity's there. And they suffered from a really bad game. They were the only team that fell to Meat Lovers in that really, really, really weird circle, which by the way, I don't think that should be a playable like circle. I think they should make it a little bit better just for the viewer. But they unfortunately got laid waste to because they were just in a terrible spot. There was a good chance they could have come away with a better game in that situation had the circle not been so ass. But Complexity playing incredible, and it's awesome that we've had 2 of those guys on the show. I just want to point that out. Isn't that a crazy stat though?
No, that is
Only
that is
3 teams top 25. Do you guys have anything on Complexity?
Yeah, I definitely cheated a little bit because I saw that they were five days played, and then number 4, and I was like, okay, gotta be them, right? But yeah, dude, they are an incredibly talented team, and they again, like this is another team similar to our Optic situation. It's a team that has a new IGL, has a little bit rough start. They're clicking now. They got things in order. They're on the same page, and they're all showing up. And we're seeing the same thing. Like Monsoon was playing with these 2 guys who were formerly on ESA, and Cody literally was a sub. And Cody is just, I think, from a personal performance, that man is going absolutely crazy. He's playing some of his best Apex. I know it's not necessarily automatically connected to ALGS in any way, shape, or form, but I believe he currently is like the number 1 ranked overall realm player at this point, which is a fairly impressive number 1 stat. And so I think that if he's able to hold on to that, I think we could see Cody just absolutely just pop off in terms of like his notoriety and the respect that he'll be getting on his name, which I'm excited for. And yeah, Luda's been playing fantastic. Monsoon's been doing his thing, and it's a team that's really, really, really strong. And I'm excited to see what they end up doing once they get to land.
But yeah, Complexity out there killing it. I love those crazy stats like that. Any other major storylines that we any other major storylines that I might have missed, something that stood out to you guys, whether it be in day 6 or just the overall standings in general?
FaZe has a pretty good 5th. They get a good 5th place, quiet 5th place. The Meat, I almost say Meat Riders every single time, but it's not the Meat Riders. It's the Meat Lovers getting 6th place. Very respectable. I got to give a shout out to Zainu and Funk. What they're top 3 in kills. Like I think Zainu's number 1, and then Funk is number 3. And it's just like Tech literally 6 them on like they're dogs, bro. Just like go and kill everything in front of me, and I'll just use my crypto drone. A big surprise, I think we all are surprised by this, is an NRG 15th place and 100 Thieves 16th place. And then my personal surprise, 17th place by a CLG squad that looked like they were having a lot of momentum the last time that we talked about them. And so I know Wyatt would probably say Lanimals because those are his boys, but I I think I'm more surprised by NRG having a 15th place and 100 Thieves having a 16th place than anything else. And I did see a few clips of like of Sweet trying to not rage because he was getting like no tracers and no audio. So I get it that maybe there was a bunch of stuff, but I did a few times that I tuned into NRG, they were getting killed on their rotation. So I'm guessing that's the reason why they kept having pretty poor days, or they had a pretty poor day. But for 100 Thieves, I can't speak specifically on to why they had a bad day. One thing that I want Wyatt to speak on, I don't know if you saw the clip, but I saw Lou. They were rotating. I think it was the first game on World's Edge. They're rotating to outside construction building right outside of Frag West, and Lou, they're it's like going into ring 4, and they're about to. Dude, Lou's like, okay, we got to rotate, and so he's running, he's sprinting, and he jumps off the edge. He says, "Follow me," and flows into the lava that like lifts you up, and he just gets beamed, bro. Oh, someone put some Titanic music, bro.
Let me explain why he did that. Okay, now listen. I'm the number one Lanimals enjoyer. #L2L. I'm going to talk about that game real quick. Actually ended up not being a bad game for the Land Daddies. Here's the thing. They were in such a bad spot, and Lou was like, there's no way that we can – there's no other place we can play right now. The only thing we could – his plan was to go into the lava and try to end up on the other side underneath. Now, that didn't happen because the way that the animation style works, it's almost impossible for you to like perfectly land on something because it actually puts you above where you're supposed to go. Then you kind of slide into it. What happened was he did that. As Alberlelli was following, he dropped down and landed perfectly on this little ledge. And because he plays Rampart, he was able to throw up a Rampart wall. And he survived, I think, at least one squad, maybe two, to get them in a little bit higher placement. He could put down one wall, tried to put another one down to his left. He wasn't able to do it. Like the animation wouldn't allow it, but he was still able to put one in front of him, one in back. So he had 3 walls in front of him. And the only thing that ended up killing him from that, because people were trying to kill him, but they couldn't because his wall was in the way, was the storm coming in. So that was actually planned, believe it or not. Lou was like, this is the only play we have. And then when he died, he was like, you just survive. Like, just try to survive. Actually, I think he ended up floating back to Alberlelli, and then Alb like tried to res him, but they were just shooting through the wall too much. So he had to just kind of let him go. And then, so it was planned, believe it or not. It was a funny ass moment because like when that's your final plan, I think you're probably not winning that game. Like you come to terms with the fact that it is over. But yeah, that was actually planned, and Alb did the best that he could. I think he actually got a kill because somebody else jumped into the lava as well. Somebody else jumped. He pulled out the Sheila and just roasted him while he was floating. So, it was a crazy day. I might as well get into my Lanimals moment here real quick. Good day for the Lanimals. Believe it or not, I think this is a good day. And I was posting positivity the entire time on the TL during the Lanimals run because even though it didn't go the best, you take away the 18th, the 2 18th places, and the 14th place, we had a 6th, and a 4th. Okay, let's just pretend the other games didn't happen. That's a top 5 finish. Okay, so we just got to clean up these early game missteps. We just got to clean up some of these weird situations where we get in weird spots. I will say it seems like Lou gets a little wily on the calls, and then it confuses Naughty a little bit. I can tell that Naughty doesn't always connect with exactly the way that Lou likes to IGL. And it's not his style, it's more the way he says it. His actual communication, the words that he says, confuses Naughty a little bit. And I think it happens to Alb too sometimes. So I'm not saying Lou is a bad IGL by any means. There's just a disconnect with the way that they're communicating that they can work out. And I believe that they can work out. I think there's still a very good chance for the Lanimals. And as weird as this sounds, I almost don't think that it's possible with the Rampart. I'm just going to say I think they need to switch up the Rampart. I think it's done well for them up to this point, but we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. I think it's time to go back to something a little bit more traditional, try running something like that. And then I think that eliminates some of the bad games in the beginning, because Rampart in early game I don't think helps as much. I don't think it's like a great like it's just not like the greatest kit to have early. Late game, it's awesome because nobody wants to shoot down your shields. They're going to run out of ammo, and you also get a fucking minigun. So that's cool. But yeah, so I that's my thoughts on the Lanimals. I think we still have a chance. I think hashtag L2L is still standing very strong. We have a really good chance. Get 120-point game. We're in there. We're locked in. We're ready to go. Naughty is absolutely on a tear right now. He's clipping shit. And if he was like, I think we'd be talking about him a lot more if they were in a better spot, or if he was on a team that was in a better spot. But this guy's insane right now. He's frying. He's just roasting. And the other thing about Rampart that I think sucks is sometimes knowing that there's a minigun on your back, I think sometimes alters your decision making in gunfights. And I don't think that's like an ALB thing. I think that's an everybody thing. When you know you have this thing that can roast people, you're like, maybe I should use it. And then in certain situations you should use it, you're like, nah, I'm going to keep my regular gun. In other situations where you shouldn't, you pull it out. I think that's just a psychological thing. That's another reason why I think the Rampart switch would be a good idea. Maybe you guys can tell me I'm wrong. Head into the Discord, link in the bio, click down below, join the Discord, tell me what you think. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the Lanimals thus far.
Bro, you're such a Lanimals fan, and I love it.
Bro, I got him down, dude. I got him down.
Enoch's an E8 fan.
Yeah. I am. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Sunday.
For you.
Yo, can you give us a little breakdown on it? Well, I guess we'll wait until after.
Yeah, actually, here's what we'll do. Ladies and gents, we're going to throw it on down to the interview. We're going to hit a quick ad, send it on down to the interview, and then after the interview, we'll get into Enoch getting ready with the boys, the E8 boys, for their next day. And then we're going to have a fun little game that we found on Reddit, picking all of the current pros out there in like a little... I'll explain it on the other side. We'll hit a quick ad, and we'll see you guys there. All right, here we are, ladies and gents, with the man himself. Keon from Sentinels is here, joining the pod here today. Keon, just want to check in. You guys just had a pretty decent day. Probably not what you guys were hoping for, but it was a decent day in day 6 of the ALGS. We're going to get into all of your history into the game and how you got here and all this stuff. But to kick it off, let's just talk about your guys' run so far. How was this last day for you, and how has it been so far this split?
So the last ALGS day, like just this last Sunday, was all right. Like I don't know if you guys saw this leaderboard or anything, but going into the 4th game, we had 1 point. So, and imagine how that felt first half of ALGS day. And we've been playing Seer Cat,
you know.
yeah. I mean, we've done it in the past though, like me Arcan, where we like had 4 points one day in a like an oversight tournament where we had 4 points after the first half, and we ended up with like 72 points. We went back to back on Storm Point, but leaving Storm Point with no points, like literally 1 point, and then going into World's Edge. I mean, I don't know. Arcan just decided pretty much that he could not IGL with a Seer Crypto or a Seer Cat, so we had to go back to Crypto. But overall, like the whole season, it's been like pretty disappointing because we came off of a top 3 in Pro League, split 1, and then like after, I don't know what happened at LAN, we went through winners bracket, made it to grand finals, and we shit the bed in grand finals, and ever since then the vibes were just chalked on the team. Like it's been bad vibes since then. Scrims didn't ever go good, and then all the way up until we picked up Zanile, like I don't know. No day did we feel like we were getting better until we got Zanile on our team.
Do you think there was like a little bit of complacency that was happening? Like, do you think it was just complacency, or do you think it was just bad vibes, therefore it became complacent, or do you think it was like vice versa type of deal, like based off the lane performance?
I think like the grand finals performance definitely like shook our confidence a lot, because we were really confident that we were going to come home with like a top 5 at LAN, just because like we're good, or we were good enough at the time to do it. And then when we took like 17th, we just got like, I don't know, it just puts you in a slump. Like you don't like taking 17th in front of 200,000 viewers. Like that sucks, you know. Especially when everybody expects you to do good, and then you get all these messages of people like feeling sorry for you when like they shouldn't be feeling sorry for you. So then, like for me, it frustrates me. I hate, dude. Like I don't know why, but when people like check up on me multiple times, like I don't know why, but I don't like it. Like I know some people like to be checked up on. I don't like it. Like leave me alone. You can do it once, but leave me alone. Like I don't like it when people are like, "Are you okay? Like how's today? Was it better than yesterday? How's tomorrow gonna be?" Like, you know. So I don't know. I got a lot of people that did that, and it just like it like made my confidence waver as well. It's like holy shit. Like I guess I just suck. Like everybody feels sorry for me. So I wasn't playing very good the very first half of the split, and then Bo was definitely not playing good the first half of the ALGS split. Like he was the kill leader, tied for kill leader with Hal split 1. And if you look at the first 3 match days that we played, or first 4 match days that we played, it was like he had like 12 kills in 4 match days, and like last split he had like 76, which is like we expect way more, you know, from him. Or I expected way more. I know Cole definitely expected way more, but like I was like top fragging, and like it's my second split ever playing like tier 1 Apex. I used to play challengers, but that doesn't really count, bro. Y'all know how like challengers are. Like I can pub stomp challengers.
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the things with that change of the new split is a lot of changes. The whole new class system that came to the Legends, like a different change of Legends. So like with Legend comps, and in a way, sort of, y'all were like the premier crypto team for North America, I would say. And I think with crypto no longer getting the scan, do you think that impacted y'all's like the most, like out of any NA team? Like I feel like y'all had the most impact because you guys use crypto quite a bit, and I was thinking that may have been a factor whenever it came to split 2, but would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, that's like a really good point, because that was a huge thing that like we got frustrated with, was we let like the scrim quality affect our comp. You know how hard it is to play zone, I'm sure, especially in scrims when there's 12 teams up, and then your white armor, white blue with zero red armor team pulls up 0, you EMP. Even if you kill them, you get pulled up on by another third party red team 0, but we only have one EMP. And so like going into the first week we played Watson Crypto. If you look at the stats, I'm pretty sure we took 19th the first day of ALGS, the second split. And that was like holy shit. Like we got crapped on all in scrims, and then we got it, like we were like, oh, it's gonna be like this first split, because first split I was tripping out. I was like, Watson Crypto is gonna get stomped. Like there's no way we do good on Watson Crypto, and I got proven wrong. And then we kind of got that back in our heads again going into split 2, and it just came true this time. Like we just got stomped. Like nothing about our playstyle felt good after the changes. It just felt like every time we got into a fight we would just die. Like, and the first day I remember just being like a lot of ways we were dying wasn't even like, it wasn't even our comp. Now that I watch it back, we were just stupid. Like we were playing so bad. We look like gold players. But yes, like, so then after the first day, like me and Bo were like, no, we're not playing this comp. So we tried swapping to like an edge, or like a more edge comp, but still playing zone. Just having a comp that can do more micro rotates, and not just like banking on, like, you guessed the zone right, because the zones have been weird recently in comparison to like last split. Arcane guessed every zone 100%. That's why we were top 5 every time. But yeah, so the big meta changes with like the classes coming out, it definitely messed with our heads. I'm really glad to be getting back to Watson Crypto, because Arcane is like so good at IGLing a crypto comp. He cannot, like, he's admitted it, he can't do Seer. So
And so you talk about like it's been a disappointing split and it hasn't gone exactly the way you guys wanted it to go. There's been drama around it too. Like it's just been a tough split all the way around. But now you bring in Zenile, and to be honest, you guys aren't in the worst of spots. You're sitting at 13th. There, you just had a decent day. I believe it was 13 points, and I don't know how many days you're going to have left here, but there's still a chance. What were you saying, Finn? Oh, they have 1 day left. So
We have
there's
1
still
day left.
1 day left. So there's still a chance. Is there any
Plus
going to be
finals.
any sort of like vibe change? Is going to be any sort of plan you guys are going into that final day with before you kind of move on and see what happens with the rest of the table?
I mean, if you've been watching, like, if, I don't know if you guys keep up with scrims at all, but like our scrim quality's been a lot, or not. I wouldn't say the quality of the scrim is better, but like our vibes overall as a team is a lot better now. We don't have people just like arguing. That was a big thing. Like Bo and Cole would like argue a ton. Like they'd always butt heads, and I'm not one to like agree with one or the other, so I just sit there and let them argue it out until one of them admitted they were wrong. Which was not good, not a good environment to be in, right? But going into the next day, like, I mean, we've honestly just been improving. Like that was the biggest thing with like the last 4 or 5 weeks with Bo was like we were getting worse. We weren't improving. Every day was the same exact mistakes, same exact arguments. Like it was just like time to go. So going into the last day, like we know we have to have big days. Technically, like there is like 2 days because it's like one more day and we have to take top 20 after the like last day overall on the leaderboard to make
it
regional
to
finals.
Yeah.
But if we I mean, we just need a win. Like we can do it. Like I mean, we took 17th at LAN and we had the most wins on LAN out of every team. Like we know how to win games. We just have been like not ourselves recently. And we won 2 match days last split and we could have won 3 or 4 probably. Going to the next day though, it's just like we get a top 3, we secure grand final or the playoffs or whatever and the regional finals, and then just take another top 3 and pray that our standings like we beat them by a little. We've gotten like a lot of comments as well from like other teams like kind of roasting us, especially like when we like kill them in scrims and stuff, that I get like clipped and like sent to, or like clips sent to me. So it's like kind of lighting a fire under my butt to just like, if I show up to LAN, like I'm gonna make sure they take 20th and I can talk shit back, because like everybody goes through it, you know. You can't play perfect all the time.
So we did talk about that you guys have picked up Zanile, and so
Yep.
I just wanted to get a little bit of the behind the scenes look into what was the process for you guys trying to find that third, and what about Zanile made him your guy?
Well, we were originally looking for like a controller player, but we needed someone that was like experienced enough to do like a lot more micro. Because at the time we were looking for someone that could also play Seer, because we were on this boxer cat. Obviously we're not in that situation now, but I don't know. A lot of the controller players that are free agents, we trialed like Luxford, and like we talked about, there's a kid in Challengers. I don't know if he's legit or not, but he's insane. His name's Koiful. He's like this 16-year-old. I wanted to trial him because he's a demon. I don't know what he's on. I don't know what he's eating, but I need it. And then we actually tried out Hill from Oxygen and Zanile, because Zanile was also on Oxygen. And we were just looking for someone that could help Cole do like the micro stuff, and like people that would come and not like throw our games, because that was like our biggest problem this split was like Bo would like a lot of the time would int, like literally like there's times that he died, like there's clips of it that are just like the dumbest ways as a pro player you'd ever think could die. So going it, like we were leaning towards a controller player to replace the controller player of Bo. But Zanile shoots like a controller player. Zanile's insane. He's like he's up there with like fun FPS in my opinion for mechanics on MK. And then it also allows him to do like a lot more, because MK players in comp can do a lot more because they have like the movement capabilities, and like everything's just quicker on it. Like, so we chose Zanile mainly just because he's experienced and he wanted a team with us. Like it wasn't just like, oh, we asked him to play. Like he was in our DMs. We didn't even think about trying to poach somebody. We weren't trying to poach anybody. Like he reached out to us. and was like, hey dude, like I want to play with you guys, like because Zenile and Arcane used to play together and they actually split up. So they used to be teammates in LGS a long time ago, I guess. And I guess he just missed Cole, like he missed Arcane's IGLing because it's really good. And then the factor is just like he's good vibes, really mechanically insane, and he's gonna play any character. Like most controller players, I'm gonna be fighting for like, I don't know, the character, like the fragger role, you know. In this scenario, it's like it's pretty easy. It's like I get to go and do like that's my job. I know my role now is like completely fragging. But when it was like two controller players on the team, it was like sometimes I had to anchor, sometimes Bo had to anchor, but Bo would like always be looking for kills. So we'd always like butt heads and like we'd die for it because some team would walk up and no one was anchoring. So I don't know, just the versatility of an MNK player, and this like honestly they just think a little bit more than controller players. And right now we can't afford to int games. We have to capitalize on every game, and then the vibes.
So one thing that you mentioned was that how great of an IGL Cole is. And
Yep.
so can you break down for us what makes him such a great IGL compared to the other ones that are out there? And that also, if you can get into the, like what makes it so he's one of the best on crypto, but then just isn't able to have the same results IGLing a different legend such as Seer.
So the reason why I say he's like one of the best is because like his macros like insane in comparison to others, but that also comes along with playing a crypto role. He knows how to play his style of gameplay. He knows that he's not gonna frag out on the edge. Like his style of gameplay is not like, he's mechanically actually really good. People sleep on Arcane's mechanics. He's actually really good. Like as a mouse keyboard player, people just think that he's like a bot because he plays crypto and goes to zone. And like even other like players, like pro players, think that as well. Like they always mention that in like when they're talking crap to him or whatever. And I don't know. He always puts us in a spot. The reason why I say it is like I'll be watching like Sweet or Hal or like just VODs of other IGLs like Nocturnal and stuff. And there's like places that they put them, like the IGLs will put them, like their teammates, where like there's no winning scenario. And 98% of the time with Cole on crypto is like he's gonna get us into like a scenario where we're guaranteed top 5 and potential to win the game every single game. Granted, that's is if you don't like just insta die, like if you don't just get Krabered or charge rifled or killed out of Valkyl on your initial Valkyl. Like, so in comparison to like other IGLs, I mean, I think he's undoubtedly the best macro IGL. Like from getting to from drop to end game position and like calling and like reading zones. Like last split one, this split's been weird, but like split one, it's been like it was like crazy. I've never had someone call 100% of the zones. Like I won a game on LAN with a P20. I don't even know if you guys know that, because I was just in God spot like instantly. He's like, "Don't loot, we're going." Like I know where this goes. Like, and then the reason why I think like I mean he admitted it the other day on stream, or I guess on my stream, when we were playing in ALGS, like halfway through, he was like, "Dude, I just don't know how to do. I don't know how to do it. Like I don't want to." He's like, I can like Valkyl us and pray for like something to be open on with Seer, but like I'm not comfortable doing it, and like I can't be on edge because I don't know how to do micro calls very well. Like, and that's why we picked up Zanel, because Zanel's better at seeing stuff in like the micro area, and he's really good at macro. So he's gonna put us in a good spot every single time, and then like Zanel's gonna finish it off, and I'm gonna help finish it off in the end games. And but like the reason why crypto and like he can't play Seer is just because like he makes decisions off of the information he's given, and like since I'm so fresh to the comp scene, is I don't know all the information. Like I don't know exactly the information that he needs. So I wasn't really helping him on Seer. Like I could shoot my gun, and like everybody knows that, but I wasn't helping him like make decisions on an edge playstyle, which is like, I mean, I'm really good at fighting, and I love playing on edge and fighting. Like I do it in every content creator tournament and take first or second, I swear, like every single time. But when it comes to like ALGS day, it's like people don't want to fight. If you try to push people on edge, like they just leave. Then you're stuck on edge. With like, I mean, we're still rotating fast, and that's another reason is we were rotating fast from like our POIs still pretty quickly. So then we were on edge with like blue armors when everybody else has crafters and armories on Stormpoint and like all these extra things, and we're like we're playing from a zone POI with an edge comp with zone loot, and it just wasn't working because we like even if we kill the team, we like everybody in NA is trying to play like the edge versatile comp. So it's just easier for him to think as a zone POI or like a zone IGL, and like Crypto just gives him everything he needs to know. Like I could literally play the game on mute and he would get us like to win probably because he's got the drone.
Okay, so you probably don't know this, but you've actually been on this podcast since the very first episode. First episode ever, we had HisWattson on, and he was talking about his relationship with you when he was kind of just ranked grinding and playing. And he said you were like a major part of him kind of getting to where he is today. And obviously now he's had like a ton of success, and he credited a lot of it to you. So I kind of wanted you to just kind of get into yours and HisWattson's relationship and how you helped him, and maybe in ways that he helped you too.
We'll also need a second retelling of the Saving Private Watson.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get into that in this answer. So, this is like way back. So season 5 of Apex Legends. I just bought my first PC. My brother helped me build it. Swapped over to PC. I didn't know anybody. I solo queued to like Masters, got to like 14K in Masters, and still didn't know anybody. I knew there's a dude named Mongrel from Xbox. He knew a girl named Leonessa. Leonessa knew Blur Flavors. Blur Flavors knew Watson. And so one night, like I was like playing with Leonessa because like I didn't have anybody, so I was just pub stomping with like homies, like as a casual, pretty much. And I was just dropping like 20 bomb after 20 bomb after 20 bomb. Like Crummy at the time, he was like pretty in the comp scene early on at season 5, season 6. He squatted up with me and Leonessa in a pub match, and I dropped. He had like 3 kills. I had like a 22, like 4K, 4.5K, and this was before like thirsting damage. I'm pretty sure went to your damage counter, and he was like, "Damn, this kid's insane!" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't really have people to play with." So like one night, I was literally just chilling. Like that night, I was just chilling with Leonessa in the Cord and like a bunch of other guys and stuff, like just playing like pummel party and stuff like that. And she was like, "I know somebody that like I can like hook you up with." So she like that night she invited like Blur Flavors to the Discord, and he it was funny because like Blur Flavors had like kind of like a little ego. He was like thinking he's better, like too good to play ranked with me. I'm not even lying. And so ended up like convincing him. Leonessa convinced Blur to let me like squad up with him and Watson for ranked, and like, and that was like the very end of season 5. So season 6, I started playing with Watson and Blur, and ever since then, like we've just been homies, right? So
I remember you guys running it down the lobbies on that squad.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, we didn't care, bro.
You gotta love the RX days.
RX, yeah. We ended up getting signed to like the tier 10 org. Like, like they just wanted to give us like $500 a month to just like put RX in our name and play ALGS. Like, and we weren't even qualifying for shit. Like we just like, I don't even know. We were just ranked and playing in like the whatever it was like the circuits. It wasn't challengers back then. It was just like the ALGS circuit, like winter circuit, spring circuit, all that. And we played like 1 or 2 of those, and then kind of stopped playing in the circuits, and just pretty much I ended up working a ton. Didn't play a lot. But anyways, fast forward to like season 10. Actually, end of season 9. We'll go to end of season 9. I take a week off. I go to like California. And this is where I met Mutiny Max. So I went over to Mutiny Max's house in California and just hung out with him because I'd never been to Cali before that time. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to grind like this next split, like season 10, I'm going to grind. Like, that's all I said to him. And I mentioned it when in like our group chat, because we had a group chat, me, Max, Watson, and Blur. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm grinding this next split. And Watson was like, dude, like I'm there. I want to grind. Like I want to do this. And this was when like coming from Xbox, I had like 9.8 average viewers on Twitch. I had like I want to say like 800 followers or something like that. Like not a lot, right? And Watson couldn't even stream because the internet was so bad. I don't know how Watson's internet, for some reason, because Watson's internet would go out all the time. It was like satellite internet in Arkansas. So as soon as a raindrop hits it, he's offline. And
Shout out Arkansas, baby.
yeah, there's literally the T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened for the 45 days of season 10 split 1, but anyways, me and Watson teamed up with Awesome Tryhard. I knew that was who I ran with on console, was Awesome Tryhard. He ended up switching to PC by season 10 for the rank 1 grind, our original like rank 1 grind. And it's just crazy because like for some reason Watson's internet worked every single day during season 10 split 1 except for like one day. And we ended up, like, long story short, Tryhard was number 1, I was number 2, Watson was number 3. I'm like, I'm not gonna put on all this time and not go for number 1. After I knew our squad was secured at the top 3, I was like, nah. So I was like, I told them, I like messaged them. I was like, I'm not gonna play with you guys. I want to go for number 1. I'm gonna get my own squad and like compete against you guys because like we already secured it. Like, there's no reason to grind it out and be bored, you know, as a 3, like the top 3. Like, I like competition, and I wanted to be number 1. Like, I was selfish, and so ended up doing that. Like, after like the 3rd or 4th day of Tryhard being number 1, after I left, I ended up taking it from him, and then Watson ended up coming back and playing with me after he realized that like he'd rather play with me than Tryhard. And so then season 10 split 1 finished it off. I was number 1, Watson was number 2. I went from like 9.8 average viewers to like 500 average during that rank grind. Watson went from nothing to 300, 250 area, which is crazy. Like, at one point I was bigger than Watson, which is just not even close now, this dude. And so after the season 10 split 1 grind, going into the season 11, he was like hardly able to stream for like a month and a half. Like, he was messaging me, he's like, bro, like, this sucks, like, I'm gonna have to go and get a job soon, like, this is what I want to do, but I can't do it. And so I pretty much was like, if you're willing to move to Utah, I have an extra room. Like, that's pretty much what I told him. Like, I'll talk to my parents. I live with my parents. I was like, I'll ask if you can move in, like, for 4 months, 4 or 5 months. And he's like, yeah, I'll talk to my parents. He like messaged me back like 2 days later, and he was like, my parents said no, but he's like, come get me Friday.
Holy shit.
So I was like, well, I guess I talked to my mom before that. So sorry, let me skip back. I talked to my mom. I was like, hey, mom, I was like, you know how like I showed you like what I was doing? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, the dude that helped me get there, I was like, he needs help too, because he like can't even do it anymore. So my mom was like, that's fine, like $400 a month. And I was like, not like, I was like, mom, I'll give you $1,600, like, let him live here for 4 months. So I gave my mom $1,600, and then I told Watson that like he could come, like my parents are okay with it. And then yeah, Watson just said like, my parents said no, but come get me like on Friday. I was like, all right. Like, so me and my best friend from Utah, Friday we left Friday at 8 p.m. Got there at Saturday at 8 p.m. all the way in Arkansas. So Utah to Arkansas, it was a 22-hour drive. I did 22 hours there in 24 hours because I had to stop to get gas and go to the bathroom at gas stations on the way. Picked up Watson. I was in a Honda Civic. So it's me and my friend. We're both 6'5", 6'6", and we're just like cranking it. Like, I'm driving for 10 hours. I sleep for like 4 hours, swap back, drive for as long as I can, swap back. I get to Arkansas. I'm there for 30 minutes. I pack Watson up, put him in my car. I don't know how his stuff fit. He didn't even bring like hardly anything. He brought his computer, his monitor, and his chair, and like
had to bring the Herman Millie
and a box. Yeah, bro. I don't know how that fit in a Honda Civic, but we made it fit with 3 big dudes and a Herman Miller. Because Watson's like 6'2" ish, and he brought like a box of clothes, and that was it. And then we just like 30 minutes in Arkansas, turned around, got back in the car, drove 22 hours back. And yeah, so pretty much like he lived here for 4 months, and it was like the second split of season 11 when that was. And then we did, or maybe that might have been season 12, because I can't remember exactly. I know we did another number one grind while he was here, and I think that was when I was number one twice, or the second time in season 12 split 2 or something like that.
Season 13 split 1. Didn't we also?
Yeah, so yeah, we did that back to back. So he was still at my house, I think, until season 12 split 2, and then after that, then maybe it was he was still here at season 13. I can't remember, bro. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, so I got number one again on KC, and he was number 2. Season 12 split 2, and then going into season 13, picked up Enoch, grinded again. That's when Watson hit his stride. Freaking
Hashtag 3 deep.
Hashtag 3 deep. Yeah, literally. And then that's just when Watson became Watson. Like, he blew up, went from 300 average, created like a fake beef with Imperial Hell on Twitter, and like roasted them, and then popped off at ALGS Land after getting picked up by Furia. He got picked up by Furia while he was at my house. I know that. And then, so like, started all this fake beef. Hal was number 2. Watson was number 1. Watson made all these memes like, oh, he can't catch me, like he thinks he's him, like all this. And then Watson shows up to LAN and just destroys LAN. Like, he put on a show at LAN. He was 316 pro players just messing around, like literally being a rank grinder. Secured his thing, and yeah, like that's pretty much the story.
Real quick, I want to go back to like picking him up at the house. Like, his parents said he couldn't go. Was it like a nighttime operation, like Black Ops trying to get him out of there, or was it just pretty simple? He just ran in the car and left.
So pretty much when I got there, well, by the time I got there, he sat down, like, because it was a 22-hour drive from the time that he told me to like come get me, and the time that I got there, or it was a 24-hour like until I got there. And so he talked with his parents and pretty much told them that like no matter what they say, he's still coming, because his parents just thought that like I was gonna sex traffic him or something. I don't. Like, that's like legitimately, like that's what they were worried about.
Like,
it's a fair thing to think as a parent.
It's like, oh hey,
yeah.
Mom and Dad, I'm having a guy who I've never met before. He's gonna pick me up, and I'm gonna live in his house for 4 months.
Yeah,
like
no,
that is classic. What your parents told us not to do when you're like, because like we were like the first group of kids to like grow up online, like and have like a childhood and then online, and they were like, don't meet random people you meet from the internet. Like, that was like one of the basic rules.
Was the rule. Yeah. So pretty much he told me, he's like, it's going to happen no matter what. Cause like, he knows me, like cause we've been friends since season 5, been like another 5 seasons. And then it happened, you know? So like, he was pretty comfortable and like doing it, but his parents definitely weren't. So when I got there, like his parents like talked to me a little bit, and like they realized that I was pretty normal, and that I like him just helping out a homie that helped me get to where I got at that time, you know? Like it just wasn't right. Like, people asked me like why I did it, and I was just like, bro, like I'm blessed enough because I was born in a place that by my parents that like I could excel, and he was born in a place that was a town of 1,826 people. There was satellite internet and grade school from kindergarten to graduating high school was all in the same building. Like, so I had the means, or I had the opportunity. Like, why not like let somebody else, you know, take it? Like, cause I'm just too blessed to like not be able to like help him, you know, especially because like that's my homie. So,
yeah, no, that's it's one of the great stories in this game's history. I think it truly is. And there's a phrase, it's like, it takes a village for somebody to, you know, become successful, and to know that you're a part of that village. And he mentioned it in that first interview. He was very like appreciative of what you had done to help him out. So it truly is just an awesome story. But I kind of wanted to hop off of Watson a little bit and talk a little bit more about you and your come up and how you got into gaming, whether it be when you were a kid or just Apex in general. I kind of wanted you to go through your history and how you got to the point you are today. playing in the ALGS with one of the more notable esports organizations in the game.
Right. So I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've been playing like shooters, everything. I've played everything. I grew up like I was playing Call of Duty and Halo when I was like 5 or 6. Like I shouldn't have been playing those games when I was that young, but I have 4 older brothers, and they would be like like to put it in perspective, my older brothers would have a LAN party because you could system link original Xboxes like together and play like 4v4. And so at my old house we had a projector that would shine onto this wall, and then we had like this big, those standing TVs that used to be back in the day. They were like boxy. It was like
they were like huge boxes.
It was their original flat screens.
Yeah,
like they
any
were like huge,
any
like
glare at
40-inch
all
TVs.
would ruin it. Like
Yeah.
any sort of light ruined it. It was just so glary.
My brothers would have all their friends come over. They'd like bring an extra console over. They're my older brothers, right? So I'm like 5, 6, 7 years old, and my brothers are all like 17 and in between, like every 2 years or so, like segmented. So 17, 15, 13, and then 11, and then me. And pretty much like they would play System Link like Halo like customs pretty much, and like be competing, and then like every once in a while like they'd let me play like when someone wanted to take a break, and I was just like good out of nowhere. Like I was just like this little chubby kid that like was just like crapping on like all these older dudes that are playing Halo. So pretty much I just came up like playing first person shooters, but I've played like old school RuneScape. That was like the new school back then. Played like every Need for Speed, a bunch of sports games, FIFA, 2K, Madden, like NCAA football, everything. Like I've played. I'm like, out of like a lot of the players or a lot of the gamers I play with now, it's like they're all like, oh, I play Call of Duty and Apex. Like they're not even gamers. Like they just know how to like play first person shooters. No, I was like a gamer. Like I loved playing. I played like I had a Game Boy that I took everywhere. I was playing mobile games. Like everywhere I went, I just want to play games. And then yeah, so I was always pretty naturally good. I was always the best Call of Duty player out of my friend group growing up. Played in like one like local LAN in like I want to say sophomore year of high school, and took like we took second to the sponsored team, like the team that was like the event host has the team or whatever, and we lost to them. But like I was like hard carrying my friends. Like I was like 19-2 in Call of Duty like Black Ops 3 days, or it might have, yeah, it was Black Ops 3, and like so I was just like miles ahead of like my friend group, right? And so I know that's like I always was good, right? So then I like got to college. I was a basketball player. Played 1 year, took the next year off, just because like I had a bad experience the first year. Just finished out my associate's degree. Coronavirus hit. Pretty much just like finished out school, went home. Like that was what I did. Like, and then started playing games. I was playing Fortnite in college like once a night, literally like one game a night. I played Apex like 2 nights of my college, like my first year of college, because it was like when it first came out, I was still playing basketball, and I played it, and it was like hard as hell. Like it was like a big gap from like what I'm used to, and so I played like 30 minutes of it when I first downloaded it. I was like, nah, like, and I uninstalled it. Like I got shit on like 3 or 4 times, and I uninstalled it. I was like, nah, this game is too hard for me, right? And then ended up seeing like Shroud playing it on stream, and I was like, dang, that game looks so fun. Like I got to get good at that game. So when the basketball season ended, I got into Apex, and I started like grinding it, but I was on console, and I was just doing my thing. Like I met some homies on console, played with some IRLs, but yeah, I just like grinded. Like in that, like I was just miles ahead of everybody after like 2 weeks. Like I was dropping crazy. Like, and back then there was like no rank, nothing. So I was just dropping 20s and 4Ks on every legend. I thought that was cool to have like something to grind for. And then yeah, like ever since the virus hit, and I just moved back home, like this has been Apex for now 3 years. So, and then pretty much like within the last year, it's like I went from being just a rank grinder to being picked up by Arcane and Rambo. And you know what's crazy is that like when I got picked up, like when Urice quit or whatever, and they needed a new third, they were trialing like Sykes and like I can't remember. It was like Sykes and like just like some other controller players. And Arcan thought I was horrible because all he remembered was me landing at staging on him with Blur and Watson every day, like in the old circuits and stuff. And he was like, "No, those guys, like he's awful, like he's so bad." And Bo was like, "No, dude, he's nice. Like you got to try him. Like we got to try him out." And then like pretty much when I joined their Discord, it was crazy. It's so weird. I was like the night I joined their Discord to have my first tryout, I wasn't even planning on it. Like they egoed me, or like Arcane egoed me originally. And I guess their tryout that they were gonna do that night like canceled. And I was in bed, bro, because back then I was going to bed at 8 p.m. and waking up at 4:30 a.m. Like that was my schedule. I loved it. And they texted me like 8:15 a.m. Or not a.m. p.m. And I'm in bed, bro, just like right here, like butt naked, like just fucking just chilling. And I just put my phone down because I don't get on my phone for very long before bed. Just put it down. I turn it on silent, and like usually I knock out so quick, but like I didn't this night, and like my phone vibrates, and he's like, "You want to try out?" He's like, "Get on." Like we got a tournament right now. Like we got to we're doing like I don't know if it was Timmy Scrims, I think, and that was when he put like a prize pool on it. It was like $1,000 to whoever won. And like logged on, I like first game on, I'm like just straight out of bed, right? And I like 1v3, like Bo and Arcan die, and I like 1v3 a team in landside on our rotate from Overlook, and they were like, "Holy shit!" Like Arcane was like, "Oh my god," and then Bo was like, "I told you, bro, he's good." But it was so funny because when I joined the Discord, Arcane was like, the first thing he said to me, he's like, "I don't think you're good at all, but Bo thinks you are." So like that.
Damn.
That's literally what he said.
Damn.
What a first line to say to
What
your
the fuck?
potential future teamate.
Yeah, he was like, I don't think you're good at all. Like all I remember from you is challenging us at staging, and you were awful. Like that's what he said to me. And I was like, good. Don't have good expectations. That's good for me. Like, you know, and he was like, but Bo convinced me to give you a tryout. So like, here we are. Like that was literally like 2 minutes before the game started. I was like, well, thanks for telling me. Like, I don't know, but it was all right. It didn't matter. But yeah, and then pretty much I had a content offer from the guard at going into that tryout, and they were wanting to get off torrent. And so then that's how we got onto the guard. I had that connection through like because Nicewood kind of hooked me up with him. And then after we did so well and the guard fired a lot of their employees, we just asked for a release, and then Arcane had the connection to Sentinels manager.
So I wanted to go back real quick. When you got into the pro scene, was that something you were looking to get into, or was it something that you were kind of pushed into, or like, you know what I'm saying?
So when Watson did super well at the last LAN, everybody knew that me and him were boys. So everybody was coming up to me and be like, "You got to play, bro. Like you see what Watson's doing. Like you got to play. Like if you don't play, like how are you gonna know how good you really are?" And so I took that kind of to heart. I was like, dang, like Watson destroyed like all the way up through LAN. Like my egotistical self, I was like, I'm better than he is. Like, like I'm gonna go win LAN. Like he took second, I'm gonna go win it. So, yeah. So I wanted to get into playing pro again after seeing Watson do so well and knowing that like I've gotten a lot better, and like obviously Watson got a lot better. But it wasn't like forcing. I wanted to play because like ranked was starting to get boring. Like I've already convinced myself, and I proved to everybody else that like I could be number one if I want to be anytime I want. So something else to conquer now.
Beautiful. Well, it's crazy to see just the journey along the way, but there was definitely some bumps, and the guard one was super weird. That was so odd because you guys had played well enough to get into LAN, and obviously LAN didn't go the way you guys wanted it to, but you guys had so much popularity with your squad just from your guys' personality and everybody kind of watching you throughout that entire split. And then all of a sudden you go on Twitter that day and the guard's firing everybody,
Yeah, I
and
didn't even
you're
know.
seeing all these tweets popping up. That had to be super weird. Walk us through your kind of like your emotions that day and like just your thought process and just your initial shock.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm pretty sure I was about to start my stream when I saw everybody getting laid off, or I might have actually been live. I just can't remember exactly. I think I was live actually. So pretty much, I just started getting like added on Twitter, and all I see is like all the people that we knew from the guard were gone, and like we didn't hear anything from like the higher ups, like any of the bosses, like the boss men. We didn't hear anything from them. Like, and one like the dude that was my connection to the guard, named Steven, he was like the head of talent, and he wasn't even allowed. Like after they laid off everybody, he wasn't even allowed to talk to me, like or our squad. Like they made sure that he couldn't say anything to us when like they laid everybody off. So then we're like, that's like our connection. That's the guy that we message, and we're like, what's going on? Like at the guard, like why is everybody except for like 3 people fired? Like what happened? And it really sucked. And the only reason we left the guard was that like the people that made the guard were all gone now. Like there was 3 people that we still liked there, but they fired everybody that made the guard so good. Like if you guys would have met the people from the guard, you would like, if they would have somehow found a way to keep everybody at the guard that were there, the guard would have blown up to be like 100 Thieves in like the next 3 years. Like I'm not lying. Like they had people that were so good. Like the skits, the people that came up with the skits. I don't know if you guys saw the Twitter skits or whatever that we did.
They're
Like those
fire.
are funny, like they're cool. And the guy that like, there's one guy that literally just writes them like off his top of his head. Like he got fired, and like I was like, bro, like that's so much. Like he could. I messaged him after. I was like, bro, if you don't make your own YouTube channel and do your own shit, like you're throwing. Like that's what I told him. Because like he made our lives so easy having to do that stuff for like the guards content brand. And like the clothing line was getting insane. It was so cool. Like I still have the clothing. I don't wear it on stream now, but like it's insane. Like it's so cool. Like, but they fired all their merch people, like all their editors, like everything. So when we heard about it, it was just like I messaged Cole and Bo, and I was like, "What's going on? Like, you guys know anything about it?" And then they didn't know anything. So we messaged. Her name is Brenda. She's like the acting boss, pretty much. There's one person that like above her, but he doesn't really do a lot. When like the bosses at the top kind of just chill. That was like him, and she did all the hard work. And so we messaged Brenda, and she was like, "I can't tell you everything right now, but she's like, you guys are fine at the moment." And yeah, so it's just like it sucked because like we were so happy to be on the guard. The guard was dope. Like they were always there for us. Like they're like super into like the personal connections with people rather than just like, oh, like we're gonna give you a check and you represent us. Like they wanted to know everything about us. They wanted like they would invite us. They would like buy like we'd have tickets to go out there and we just go hang out pretty much. We'd work like one day while we were out there and the rest we were just hanging out doing stuff as like a whole org. So it was pretty sick. But when they fired everybody, it just sucked. Like it really was just a bummer. Nobody like me, Cole and Bo just were like, dude, like it doesn't even feel like home anymore. And then we just started looking for other offers because like originally we were supposed to get a raise after the LAN. And when right after the LAN is when they fired everybody. So with that happening, we were like, well, maybe they don't have the money to give us the raise that they pretty much promised. So we were like, we're gonna go and like start looking for other orgs, and we asked for a release, and like, luckily they didn't screw us over because orgs and their contracts can kind of screw you over, just in the way it's written. And luckily they were just like, yeah, like we understand, like let us like upload all the stuff that we like filmed of you guys before, and then we'll release you guys. So I mean, it sucked, but it kind of just happens. Like this part of the esports industry right now, like jobs aren't like set in stone.
So we do a segment where I ask you 5 rapid statements and then you just answer with one word. I
Mhm.
usually use the charge rifle as an example, and people will just say like the
Broken.
worst or something. Yeah, we're broken. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, well, so we're gonna do that. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Number 1, Apex Legends ranked.
Bad state.
Fair. Number 2, High Point.
Good rotates. Can I say 2 words? Is that fine?
Yeah,
Or
so you're fine.
that's
You're
fine.
fine. We'll allow
right.
it.
Number 3, Valkyrie.
oh shoot. Well, now I'm thinking about it. Getting boring.
Okay, that's fair. And then number 4, best gun in Apex Legends.
Charge rifle.
And then number 5, Sentinel Keon's playstyle.
Aggressive.
You wanted to say so much more.
I was like,
Here, you can
okay,
go,
well, you can unload
You can say
unload the
it.
clip. Unload the
Unload.
clip.
Yeah, unload it. Yeah.
I was just gonna say like aggressive, but like definitely smarter than most people, but like loves to int because I like to see what I can get away with. I don't know. I'm not like the best controller player in the game, and I know that, but like when I'm on, like I'm unstoppable, and like I think that is with every controller player. Like when you're feeling it, it's like a different thing. But my thing is like I just think that like I don't know. I like when I get shot by people, it like makes me mad, and I don't respect them. Especially when someone charge rifles me, I'll reach out every time just because like I want them to know that my balls are bigger than theirs.
That's the way to do it. It's the way to do it. Beautiful. Enoch, are you gonna round it out with yours?
Yeah. So a question that I ask basically everybody who comes on the pod, because everybody who we have on the pod is excelling in the field that they've chosen, and you are definitely in that category as your not only your success on Twitch and everything that you've been doing with content, but as well as a professional player, you are solidified in that top 0.001% without a doubt. And so if there was one piece of advice that you could give somebody who's trying to reach that top 1% in the field that they're trying to do, that isn't like solely to do with like just esports and everything that you're involved with, what would that be?
Don't let the people in your life hold you back from what you like really want to do. For me, it was like I wanted to be a content person, and I went through 2 relationships. Like I broke up with 2 different girls because like they thought I was just wasting my time. Like people that like doubt you, like kick them out of your life. Like there's no reason to keep negative energy around you. Pretty much just like if you want to go get it, like if you want to be a professional gamer, you better be like sacrificing everything. I didn't play the game for Apex. I didn't play Apex for like 4 or 5 months. I built up like $15,000 in savings, and I quit both my jobs. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna do this because this is what I want to do. And that's when I started grinding. Like I put everything I had into it until I had nothing in the bank account, and I just prayed that like it was gonna turn out for like what it did. Yeah, I mean, like just whatever you set your mind to, just make sure that like you don't let other things hinder it. Really, like keep your eye on like what you want, and like you don't have to go from 0 to 1,000 viewers. You just have to go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, like, and just one at a time. Like the little things. Make sure that you're like, don't get like, make sure that like you have the bigger picture though, because like for me, it's like I got caught up in just like the numbers on Twitch. And now it's like, now I'm realizing that I did it completely wrong. Like you got to grow other things. You got to grow like, and that just goes with everything in life though. Like you can't be like the best athlete if you don't grow like your relationships with the people that you care about. Like you can't, you gotta focus, you gotta grow everything together. And that goes for everything in life, I think. But yeah.
Beautiful.
It's a fire
Love
answer.
it. I love it.
All right, before we end, we got to talk about the fact that you're building like a car right now, right?
Yeah.
Can you just got to get like, that's too cool of a thing to not talk about.
Yeah, so that's like one of the things that people don't know about me. Like other than like most people just know that I love working out, love playing video games, and I used to love basketball. Like, I used to play it all the time. one of the things I keep down is like I love cars. My dad had like 3 first-gen Camaros when I was a baby. He sold them all before I could remember. And I ended up convincing him when I was in high school to get another one that we could work on together. And we got it running before I went to college. And when I had the money to buy my own, which is crazy because I bought one that like you wouldn't think is how much it's worth, but I bought a shell of a 67 Camaro for like $11,000. Like there's really nothing with it. There was nothing with it. Now I've got like every piece of the body, got the engine, the transmission, I have everything except for like the steering column and the drivetrain, or not the drivetrain, the whatever, it might be the drivetrain. I don't know, whatever it's called.
Drive line?
The drive line, yeah, that connects the drive shaft. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Drive shaft, same thing. So, but yeah, I'm just rebuilding a 67 Camaro SS RS. Probably like one of the only, like, you wouldn't think that like a lot of gamers have like other hobbies, because like when I ask other people, they're like, I don't really do anything. Like I get off and I watch Netflix, or like there's a few of us, like Enoch I know used to be like a big athlete. I'm sure you guys had a bunch of other things. Like at the top level of Apex Legends, most people, like, I'm just gonna use Watson for an example, like he doesn't do a ton outside of video games. Like he doesn't, it's not like what he does. So it's always cool to hear about like other people that like have different hobbies. And like when people found out that I was like a car guy and like to work on cars, like my chat, that's all they're like, how's the cars coming? Like I see pictures, like I want to see it. Like this is what I'm working on. So
Yeah,
I think it's dope.
Yeah, it's got to be cool too to have like a chat who they show their stuff too. Like that's always for us, like just talking about just having this show and having our different interests and other people come in. I know that's really cool. It's got to be cool for you to see like other people's cars and what they're working on and stuff like that. No, that's awesome, man. That's a great hobby. Well, Keon, it's been an honor having you on. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, you're in the Apex the podcast lore because you were a big part of the very first episode. So it's been a pleasure having you on for the first time. And hopefully next time we talk to you, maybe you're at LAN and maybe you're hoisting that trophy.
Yeah, hopefully. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. All right. That was our interview with Keon. Shout out to Keon for hopping on the show. He's been literally mentioned on this podcast since episode 1 when we had HisWattson on, talking about how Keon was a massive role model.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. Yeah, my brain just died. My brain.
It's okay. I saw it in your eyes too. I saw it.
My brain just died. That's what it looks like when my brain dies. So shout out Keon for hopping on the show. Enoch, let's talk a little bit about the excitement going into the next day. We got the E8 boys, formerly known as BBB, Bald, Browse, and Brit. That's what it was. How are you feeling going into this day?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm feeling good. You know, dude, scrims kind of chalked. That's not happening. Like, I mean, I would say as far as like the way that Apex is right now, there has, at least in my experience of paying attention in comp, I mean, I'm sure it's been worse than this, but like it really just feels like there's nothing that you can really do to practice for these tournaments that we have coming up. I mean, you have ranked was never like real practice, but like ranked is just absolutely just dog shit, tragic situation, borderline unplayable if you're like at a high level, because your queues are just insanely long, and the amount of time that you have to wait for your queue compared to the chances that you have a cheater in the game, it just does not add up to being an enjoyable experience. And so it's not even like you can be like, yo guys, I want you guys to be playing ranked the X amount of time, like just to like get that team chemistry, just because it's just a miserable experience. Realm is good. I think Realm is really great practice. Zach's been absolutely just tearing it up in there. I did believe Design has as well. And then Chaotic's been doing his thing. But like scrims are chalked. I don't know what happened, but like scrims were super solid for like a little bit. Like there was like a couple week or two where I was like, okay, this is dope. Like this is cool. Like, and like I got to be in there and like do my thing like in between each game, which was like my sort of practice. Just getting ready to like those handle in between the games, like even though it'll be like a completely different environment come ALGS, but I'm super excited. But yeah, scrims are just like not a thing anymore. Like they've stopped. The quality of them was so bad that everybody just felt like they were all wasting their time. And
can we talk about that
now
real
they're
quick?
just not. Yeah, we'll talk about it just real quick. Like
you finish that and then we'll hit it after that.
100%. Because I'm about to finish it up, but with the way that my team plays and the way that we approach the game and the way that we have our games going, if nobody's practicing, I'm very confident in my team's ability to be one of the best teams out of teams who aren't practicing. Like, I am so confident in my team's ability if everything like doesn't go to complete shit and shambolics and we're able to keep the vibes right. And I'm especially looking forward to this weekend because last time we played, I wasn't able to sit in the Discord and be involved in the comms and be able to like do where I think I'm best at. Like, I think my best strength as a coach is going to be what I can provide to a team in between games. And I didn't get to do what I really wanted to do. And we had a lot of unfortunate things happen that I think I would have been able to have at least a decent impact on. And so I'm incredibly excited for my first opportunity to actually like coach. And it's going to be this Sunday. Nobody's going to be able to practice, my team included. But I can guarantee you that I'm going to do my best to make sure that my team's showing up ready to play and is going to be able to perform. And I'm expecting a big day from E8.
I love that. I love that, E. I mean, I'm kidding. I really do.
Dude, I mean, like, dude, because we have Zach playing Realm all the time. So, like, his IGLing is, like, he's just getting to, like, obviously, like, they're not the same, but he's practicing getting players into positions for them to be successful.
Yeah.
And so, once you get him with design and chaotic, it's just going to be free. There's a few things that I want to clean up as a team that I'll be making sure that we handle going into this weekend. And dude, I'm super excited. Yeah, getting back to scrims, dog shit, dumpster fire. Ben, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think Minus Tempo tweeted out. Oh gosh, when was it? Was it? It was Friday. Friday.
Sometime last week for sure.
Yeah, I think he said like, "Hey, scrims are canceled." And then so I think he originally was like, "Okay, scrims are canceled, and they're probably going to for the foreseeable future if people are choosing to play Realm for 8 hours and chalking their schedule and not prioritizing scrims, which is way more important." From his words, he said it's way more important to be doing scrims instead of playing what is essentially money 8s of Call of Duty, but for Apex. Like, and so for those that don't know, Minus Tempo is the guy. I believe he's under TSM technically. I think he's maybe there something behind the scenes. I don't really know, but he is essentially the person that sets up scrims in North America for the Pro League, and they do that. They try to do that at least once a day, I believe. Like it's like a strict schedule, and they have it at this time every single time, whatever it is. They have a schedule, and he puts out a schedule beforehand for like a month or two ahead, and it's basically just easy mode for pros to be like, oh, okay, we have scrims today. Oh, we don't have scrims today. Whatever. Anyway, he's the one that is doing all of that and doing so much for the scene, but he's not like all of the effort is not necessarily being reciprocated to like other people showing effort. And he's just getting annoyed with how people are prioritizing Realm instead of prioritizing scrims, and he was kind of over it. And so he was, I think at one day he was just like, okay, I'm not gonna, like, we're no longer going to be doing scrims because I'm not going to be the one that's organizing it. You guys figure it out, like that type of deal. And then I think eventually he like went back on that and is like trying to get back into it, because I think people started to realize, okay, we're being idiots by not prioritizing him. So but I have now noticed that he was calling out people that didn't show up for scrims, like on Twitter, and saying their name and like tweeting at them and like saying, "Hey, your pro Apex team is not practicing. How do you feel about this?" Like all this sort of stuff, kind of calling them out. No, not kind of, is calling them out. And I think that there's a good, I think there's a good reason why. But Enoch said that they're not even doing scrims right now, and I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to Minus Tempo, so I don't know what the future holds when it comes to doing these scrims. But I will say I definitely see, if I was in his shoes, I would be so pissed too. Like, you're doing so much effort for the pro scene, and all people have to do is just show up, and it doesn't seem like people are doing so. And I totally get the frustration, just because he put it on a silver platter in a way for them. Like he's like, hey, all you have to do is just like fix your sleep schedule. You don't even have to fix it that crazy. All you have to do is just be here on time whenever you say you're going to, so that you can get quality scrims. Even though I don't know what the quality looks like. Enoch said that they were pretty bad, but I think that has to do because of Realm, though. E, do you have anything, or why do you have anything with that?
I mean, yeah, he took all of the heavy lifting off of the responsibility of the players, created an environment where they could show up and have an opportunity to practice, and they just squandered it. Whether it was like teams, because like what ended up happening was that not all 20 teams would sign up to play, and so then they'd get teams to fill, and then those teams to fill, like it's like as soon as you have teams filling in, it's no longer like good practice, because it's like it's not going to play out the way that it's going to come game day. Like, those teams aren't going to be making the same decisions. Those teams have different play styles. Those teams are going to play from POIs differently. It's just not the same. And when that happens and people realize, it's like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. Like, just the overall attitude of the scrim goes into, well, this isn't going to be how it is on game day, so I'm not going to play like that. And
yeah,
so,
one grief turns into a whole grief of scrims. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad, especially as like someone who's like coaching a team and wants to be able to have good practice. It's kind of just laughable that we're in a situation where, as an esport, we can't get our best teams in the world to be able to have good practice. But I mean, I guess that is the problem of having a battle royale, is that it's inherently, I guess, difficult to practice with all of the different variables. Because I mean, like, we're not talking like Valorant getting 12 dudes together to take something serious. We're talking about getting 60 guys to show up and not grief each other. And I mean, like, just the mental fragility of like these Apex Legends players is just not in a great spot, because like literally you can like do like one thing and then boom, just the whole thing's chalked. And so if you have one guy get his game chalked game one, that guy's gonna probably end up chalking two other teams games game two, and then that's gonna spread, and then like you probably end up getting like six different teams games chalked at some point around game three, and then just nobody cares.
Yeah, and that's
like,
an issue.
People just take one game chalked, and then it's just like it just falls
an
apart.
issue. And I will say this: like, think of all the times that you've been in a large group setting where it's like around 60 people. It is hard to like get everybody to be on the same page.
That's a lot of bodies.
I get
that's
that.
a lot of people.
My thing is, though, like, I'm looking at this from a perspective of like, you get paid to play this game, and like it you're not having to clock in 9 to 5. You know, you're not having to do all this different stuff, and the only thing that you are required to do by your contract that you sign is to play this game and get better at it and provide results for your team. And if you can't show up to this, that, like, as somebody who works 9 to 5, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how are you not doing that? I think everybody who works like a regular job is like, dude, how are you not doing that? I get it. Like, Realm, probably more fun. Ranked is ass. Their ranks is that's the real thing. Enoch, you were talking about like the issue is like these guys can't take it seriously. The real issue is the game can't take this seriously enough to make a rank system that provides like actual like content and makes people want to play. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But like, you're paid to play this game. Just show up. Like, all you got to do is show up at this time. The guy got so tired of it, he was like, fuck this, I'm done. Like, how do you get somebody that mad who's only doing things to help you? I get it. Like, it is hard to get a group of people together, but it shouldn't be hard to get a group of professionals together.
Yeah.
That should not be hard. That's the difference.
I absolutely agree with you, Wyatt. I absolutely agree. And I do think we could like actually spend a whole segment just talking about the unprofessionality of esports players, and you could talk about like specifically Apex, but I do know that it's just like, okay, a lot of these people are kids, a lot of them are, or young adults, and because of that, they may have like not really ever like had a job, or they never had like the real life experiences that you and I, and I'm guessing Enoch has also had in their life, to where they know what a 9 to 5 feels like, and they know how miserable a 9 to 5 can be. It depends. Some people love I love my job. I know some people love their jobs, and maybe not everybody on our podcast loves their job, but I know that, for some people that's not a big deal, but for some, whenever they hear that a like 60 people can't go and do their job to play a video game, I think that they think that that's outrageous, and I totally agree with that. But I also don't think the same, like the players don't have the same perspective because they haven't had the same experience in life, right?
I'm just saying, yeah, I feel like you're okay. If you are a pro and you're seeing this clip or you're listening to this moment right now, and you maybe have not had the life experience to have a job and know what it feels like to work in the world, let me tell you right now, you are costing if you're not showing up for your scrims. You are a paid professional. Act like one. Go to the scrims. I get it. Ranked is not fun to play. I get it. Realm is more fun to play. I get it. Scrims can be really boring, and they can be really shitty, and they can suck sometimes. But you are paid. Everybody in the world and like everybody in their life has had to do something that they did not want to do, and they would have rather done something else instead that would have been more fun. Cool. Awesome. Go do your scrims. Go to your scrims. Please just go to your scrims. And then when your scrims are over, what is it? Like, do they do 6 games like a regular ALGS match? What is that?
I think they
6
just
games.
do 6 games.
What is that? Like 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go back to doing the fun thing you wanted to do. Great, awesome. That's
why the problem. The problem is that not all 30 teams in Pro League are signed.
That is the only thing I will say.
Because like, and all it takes is 1 to 2 teams that aren't able to show up for then the scrim, and like for it to go from good practice to bad practice.
Yeah, which I get, and like that's the toughest part is not all of the. But I said, like, if you're getting paid for this game, like I see there to be no excuse to go. Obviously, it's going to get tougher if you're just you're hoping, you're kind of grasping to something, being like, hopefully somebody picks us up. But I feel like even if you're in that spot, like, how are you not showing up? If you're trying to get signed, like, shouldn't you be playing against the best players in the world to make your name, like to get yourself noticed? I don't know. I just feel like there's no situation where if you're trying to make it in this world, if you're trying, like, this is not an easy place to get into. This is like, there's a lot of really good players out there, and I just feel like the ones with the dedication are going to make it. And if you're unsigned and you're trying to get in there and you're avoiding the only practice against the best players in the world, where maybe somebody can see you and be like, hey, this guy's not on the team he should be on right now, but we'll sign him next season. Like, put yourself in the right spots. Like, you're not going to get there not going to scrims. Like, I don't. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
crazy.
saw it with Prophet. I'm not even kidding. You saw it with the Prophet. He's been moving differently lately. He's been on Realm. But like you're saying, I mean, he's just an example. But like, you can play Realm all day, except, right, like, just stop whenever you have to go to scrims. Like, that's not crazy. Like, that's not hard. And I don't think that's even that crazy of an ask at all. Like, you're already playing competitively, kind of like in ranked anyway, like, which is what Realm is, custom ranked. And so just go and play it with your team. So like, I do agree. If you there is excuses for those that have like the 9 to 5, but also in pro league. Like, okay, they get done with their job, but then even those teams are also getting into scrims. There is absolutely zero reason why you should not be getting into scrims if you are a signed professional team. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Unless somebody is sick, there is like an emergency. There's not a reason for you to not be going to showing up on scrims and at least trying your best to be able to improve in some way, somehow. A lot of times, I mean, we even talked to Raven when it comes to scrims. He said that sometimes, like, depending on the quality, you can only, like, the first minute 30 is the best, like, is the only stuff that you're really going to get out of the scrim, the rotate and you looting and like your decision making. And if that's the case, then like, yeah, that's a small amount of time, even in that 3-hour limit. But like, work on that and talk about that and try and do things to improve in that way. Even if you're getting griefed, or if you're the one griefing, you should try and maybe avoid that. To try, like, I mean, it's hard to do because some people view griefing as not griefing, and some people view like griefing as, okay, this is the worst thing that ever happened. But some of these people are legitimately practicing different comps. They're trying out different rotates. And that's the problem, is like, there's scrims, but then there's like nothing that's in between tournament to scrim, where like there's no like in between really, where people are able to. So I see scrims as like, people can do experiments. Like, people can try to get better in a different way. Right. But people don't see that maybe in that way, because if they already have their meta or their rotates or all that stuff down, then the people that are trying to do all the experiments may be quote unquote griefing these teams, but they are legitimately trying to do something else. But because of them not, like, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I know what you're saying. It'd probably be like, probably when Furia first busted out the Seer Horizon Valkyrie comp, there was probably a lot of like, these guys are just
100%.
griefing, and then it turned out to be like the main comp. So I 100% see what you're saying, but I wanted to close on, like, for me at least, one more point on it. Whenever there's a bad team in any sport league, like the bottom team of the league, the one thing you'll always hear talking heads or coaches saying is these guys are playing for their jobs, meaning in the future, another team could see them and be like, that guy, despite being on such an awful team, was really, really good, and we're going to bring him into our thing now. You're playing for your next contract. Like, if you're on a team that's bad, or maybe you don't fit in well with it, and you can't even muster up to put yourself in the position to showcase at least what you can offer, like, you're just costing yourself. Like, how are you can't, like, if you're trying to make it, you gotta put yourself in the position to be seen by somebody. Like, it has to be that way. So if you can't, like, and like Finn said, there are guys who are working 9 to 5s who still show up for scrims. Hats off to those guys, by the way. But like,
Very typical.
Listen, if you're not feeling it on scrims and you're just like, I don't know if it's worth the time, I promise you, any situation where you put yourself in front of the best in the world and you can showcase your talent is not wasted time. There will be a spot for you eventually somewhere down the road if you put the work in. So just show up. Like, just show. It just makes me mad because, like, Enoch was talking earlier about how, like, Apex players just get, their mental just gets wrecked, like, so fast. And to me, it's just like, how can you allow this to be happening when it's like you have such a great opportunity in front of you? I just feel like they're not seeing it. I just don't think that there's like that connect there where it's like, hey, like, this could be temporary. Let me bust my ass and see if maybe I can make it permanent. I don't know. That's my perspective on it. If I had the skill to do that, I would be in scrims 15 minutes early every single day. That's me. But, that makes me mad. I got heated a little bit.
You're good. No, you're fine. You're fine.
Do we still want to do that thing?
I still think it'd be great. Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
All right, well, let's move off of the scrim subject. let's move off of all that. This all came from Enoch being getting ready for his next day, by the way. So we wish Enoch and BBB next week. You guys are playing on Saturday, right? Sunday. So they will be playing Sunday. Tune in. We're gonna be watching BBB close, and we're gonna be pulling for our guy Enoch. So, boys, let's get into like a little fun game. I've seen these pop up on Twitter a few times. It's always interesting. Usually on like some sort of sports page. It'll be like Sports Center, and it'll put like a bunch of football players in a list. The best players will be worth $5. Some really good players, but not the best, will be $4. Some average players, $3. Some decent players, $2. And then some okay players, for $1. We're going to do the same thing, but with some Apex pros. This was a Reddit post that Finn found. Did you send it to me, Finn?
Yeah, it should be on Discord. Shout out to Ian J for making this and providing some super solid content. I will say, yeah, I know you said like some mid players, but like all these people on here are pretty.
I'm looking at this list right now for the first time, and all of these players are really good. Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be tougher than I thought. All right. Does anybody want to go first?
Oh, bro, this is hard. Could I
can go first.
You got it? Okay. We need to, for those that are listening, we will I'll say all the values and then the names. So once again, you have $10 to make your team. So in the first tier it's $5, but each person would be $5 in this tier, and it's Hal, Sweet, Hackies, HisWattson, and Nocturnal. For $4, we got Taskmaster, Mandy, Verhol, Skittle Cakes, and Hardecki. For $3, you have Jen Burton, Guild, Gent, Reps, and Yuka F. And then for $2, you have Lou, Frex, Fun, Nathan, and Hugares. And then for the $1, you have Alberelli, Vax, Snipe Down, Panders, and Impulse. That's insane. So, if you, what I think,
I got mine.
Yeah, let's hear yours. What?
You want to hear mine? Okay.
Yeah, you go. What?
I'm going with my $5 pick. I'm picking Nocturnal. $4 pick. I'm going Verholst. And then I got $1 left, and I'm taking Snipe Down. So I got the 2 controller demons, and then I got Nocturnal.
Yeah, that's a
solid team.
Yeah, I think that is. I think some of these, I think some of these are just like the value is insane to me. Like
when I saw Snipe Down in the $1, I was like, I'm taking a 5 and a 4. This is such a good list, though. I really wanted to get a team with Jen Burton on it, but I was looking at it and didn't know if I liked any of it.
See, you can do a 5-3-2, and then you could do. I mean, by like trying to decide between Jen Burton and Guild, that's a tough one.
Fun FPS is only $2,
dude. Isn't and Nathan?
Nathan's also $2.
Dude, they're both $2.
You see, like a team literally could be Sweet, Guild, Nathan, right? Like you could have that team, but the team that I'm gonna go with is I'm gonna say Sweet, Jen Burton, Fun FPS.
Dude, that's gross.
That is gross. I think we've had a talk before, and I think that was legitimately a team that I once said that I would make if I could.
Like a super team?
Dude, that is a super team. As much as I love Hal, I don't think I could choose Hal for $5 right now. His form is not as high as it could be. So, but the same could also be said about Sweet. I mean, Nocturnal is a clear $5. Like I do think Nocturnal is definitely like a $5 pick. I think you could also make the case for Hockeys as well, since I think they're either number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in EU. So I'll switch it up a little bit, and I'll go Hockeys.
You just hating on that boy, HisWattson. You're saying he's not worth the 5.
Dude, that wasn't a hate on Watson.
Is that
First
what
off,
you're saying? Is you're
he
saying
knows
he's not
I
worth
have-
$5?
Sounded like hate.
He's
I
not
have
five-
respect for
$5?
Watson. Hold on.
He's
I have
the only
respect for
$5
Watson.
person you didn't list.
Listen. No. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you have
Notice
no
how
respect.
Enoch's
Nah, it sounds like you
always
just
like
don't mess with
roasting me,
Watson.
like side roasting me. Whatever I say, Enoch is always like, "Oh, so you're doing this now?" It's like, no, I never said that. But okay, I will say this about HisWattson. I think he's a $4 pick right now. I think depending on how they play, because in the next 2 days of ALGS will determine if he is a $5 pick at this current moment.
So
No.
there's the president of the HisWattson hater club right now. That's all I
Dude.
heard.
That's crazy. I guess
Send all comments to Finn
that
if you hate
and
Wiz
Nasky. I
Watson.
guess I'm co-president of that one as well. So
Yeah,
Bro, there's a comment below from Lex Volt. It says, I want 3 gents. We're going to walk up like fucking Levi models and slap everyone with our smooth, calm shit talk. None of you can handle 3 gents. I actually like that pick.
okay, I'm gonna go Hockeys. Actually, no, Wyatt should actually go Hockeys because he plays Ash. So I won't go Hockeys. I'm sorry, but Wyatt should have. I'm not gonna lie because he was playing Ash earlier, so
Damn.
it makes actually so much more sense. Okay,
That throws
fine.
a wrench in my
Fine.
plans.
I'll go HisWattson. I'll go Mandy, and then I'll go Panders.
wait, one more
Okay.
time.
So HisWattson,
The
Mandy,
guy you hate.
and Panders.
That's
So-
a sturdy squad.
Like,
I also saw. I'm looking at Better Tennis. He said has Watson, Panders, and Verhulst, which is
that's
I feel like
disgusting.
That's gross.
it just depends on how much aim assist you want on one team. But yeah, HisWattson, Panders, and Verhulst. That team actually could just go at like silly because I watched HisWattson and Verhulst. They somehow ended up on the same realm team, and I think Watson dropped a 3K, and like that dude was flying. Like everybody on that team was just frying, and so I think that team is absolutely scary. It just which one of them is gonna play Seer. That's what it ends up being.
yeah, okay, hold on. Can you make the argument right now that Mandy is one of the best players in the world right now? Like, if like comp wise, he's not even on a comp team.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
think
make
he
the
could.
argument that he is?
I mean, I definitely think he's a $4 pick.
Well, okay, what I think he's overall. What is he on Realm? Hold on. I know. Like, are we taking Realm into consideration? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of sort of am. Like, I think Mandy is so good right now. So that's why I had to for sure pick him. The issue is all the IGLs that I'm looking, like pretty much all the IGLs are in the $5 tier. So it's like they're all IGLs actually. Every single one in $5 is IGL. So
That's why it's $5.
That's why it's $5. So yeah, I guess.
Damn,
But
dude, there's so
Fun
many
and
options.
Nathan being $2 is insane to me. Also, Frex
Yeah.
at $2 is insane.
I feel like Fun should at least be 3.
I agree. Oh, dude, I low key. Yo, can we make another one? Can we do another one?
Of what?
Like, just make another team, like with $10.
Yeah.
$10.
Well, like, but is there like a different like set of requirements we need for this, or just the same thing?
It just can't. Well, it just can't be.
You want to say no $5 picks?
Yeah, no
Do
$5.
it.
No
picks.
$5 picks? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no $5 picks. I think. Oh, dude,
Bro.
I have one that I want really bad.
I
Actually,
know
no-
my team. My team, Skittle Cakes, Verhulst,
No,
Fun FPS.
you took mine.
That's
Gosh,
my
damn it.
squad. That's my 4-4-2. Let's go.
You took
Is
mine.
that actually the same one you were gonna say?
Yes. Because
Dude,
I was
that
like,
team
they
is
already could.
nuts.
They've already linked up before, and then you add in
of
Fun.
course. Yeah.
Damn it. That was
Dude,
mine.
I think I have. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go out of respect. I think I'm gonna go Hardeki. I'm gonna go Vax. And then I think I would like to go Gent. I think I would like that. Hardeki, Gent, Vax. I don't even need all $10. Who cares? Like, that team's disgusting. The $2 will go to
Uniforms. Getting sick uniforms.
No, it'll go to Lou being our coach. That's what I'll do.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. We should actually post this on Twitter and Instagram, see what people say. Obviously, credit Ian J.
Ian J.
Well, this was awesome. This was fun. That was
It was a
there needs
great
to be
time.
more like this. I want a real comprehensive one that gets like everybody in there. Just at least everybody from this split.
We should pick up like a team a week.
Yeah.
Like if there was like a big comprehensive that we should pick like our top teams. Like there's
cool.
got to be like a way to make a fantasy Apex league.
Fantasy Apex would go crazy. I'll be the commissioner. I'll commish.
The commish.
Once again, shout out to Ian J for making this. This was really, really cool. And if you got more in you, I'd love to see it. If you could, even just you getting all of the players, the current players together in this split and making one would be an insane task. If you could do it, all power to you. That'd be awesome. But once again, thank you to Ian J. Once again, this is on r/competitive Apex Reddit where you can see this. We'll probably have it posted on our socials, but that was a fun little game and something I hope we continue to do in the future. These are always fun to do. And now I know why SportsCenter posts them so much. Ladies and gents, we're going to throw it on down to the heart-to-heart and send you on the rest of your week. Let's get it. All right. It is heart-to-heart time, ladies and gents. Heart-to-heart time. Boys, who wants to go first? How are we feeling? Nobody?
I think you want to go first.
I can go. I guess I don't really have one this week. Yeah, I think I just battle sometimes with feeling like I'm way behind and like way behind in where I should be in life and stuff like that. And that's something I've constantly battled with my whole life. And I had a real big struggle with it this week. Obviously, a lot of new Apex content coming out like now is it makes me feel like, am I good enough sometimes? Especially in this exact scene. At least with Banner, I can make jokes and I can do all that, and it's whatever. When it comes to Pro Apex, I obviously don't have the skill to be in that zone, but I do think that I can bring a lot to the table when I sit down and watch, and I think I have good analysis. But right now, at least as it currently stands, my name doesn't bring a whole lot of like value to what I'm saying, and I hope that through this journey with the Apex, I'm able to kind of build people's trust in my ability to see things. And when you see other people out there kind of breaking stuff down, you're just like, I wonder if I'm good enough to do it. And I definitely had a struggle with it this week because it's tough. Like you're not. I've never been a Predator. I've never even been Masters, to be honest with you. So it's like, what weight does my my opinion hold? But from live tweeting the Lanimals event, I realized where my value is, and it's really just I know how to have fun with it, and I know how to have a good time with the content that's coming our way. And I may never have that groundbreaking analysis that nobody can ever that like nobody can top. But what I can do is I can have a good time, and so getting to sit down and live tweet the ALGS with all the followers, and there were so many people like sending tweets back, and like the one guy came up with the hashtag Lanimals to land, and we like came up with like the thing. It was just cool. So I think the lesson from my struggle this week was you can always find your niche if you're trying hard enough to find it, and you may not always be the best at what you thought you were going to be, but you can definitely find a place where you fit in. And I think I can fit in here. I think I've proven myself up to this point. Like I think I can hold my weight a little bit. I don't always have the best opinions, obviously, and I'm not always right. I don't think anybody in this scene will always be right. But it's nice to know that I can bring some value to where people actually want to interact and stuff like that. So that was my struggle this week, but I think I found my solution along the way. So that was my heart to heart this week.
But there ain't anybody out there that's going to be doing Wyatt Bab as well as you.
That's true.
Not anybody who can hold a candle to how well you do Wyatt Bab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. Do you guys have your heart to hearts?
Mine was similar to like what I said last week. I was going to try and improve. It could have also been the week before because it was still something that I was messing with, but allowing like other people to dictate how I was feeling, like my emotions in a way. And I think it can be kind of relative to what you're saying, Wyatt, in a way. It's super easy to be like, I mean, shoot, in the past like week and a half, there's been so much new Apex content like announced and like done throughout the scene. And I really do think like it is a good thing for the Apex scene in general, just having more eyes and like more personalities involved in it. And like, I think we shouldn't ever be scared of that, but more so just know that like, hey, there's a space for all of us. Like, and there is like, we can all eat, you know what I'm saying? In a way.
More than enough to everybody to eat.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing to Fallout actually earlier tonight. I was like, yeah, dude, there's more than enough for everybody to eat.
And I mean,
like the more people that do it, just the bigger it's gonna get.
Right, exactly. And we, we already have a super solid base, and I like am so thankful for all of y'all that for listening. And I'm like, I think it was very intimidating. I think it is. I mean, of course, any type of like competition in a way can be intimidating, and I wouldn't never necessarily say like it's direct competition, but in a way it is. Like, of course, we're all talking about the same things, but I mean, think of how many sports shows there are, and think of how different things. Anyway, I just had to really flip my perspective the past 2 weeks, and so I think for my heart to heart, and it sounds like for Wyatt as well, like it's just been not allowing other things to dictate how you're feeling, and just kind of put like it's just us putting our head down and like continue to keep working and keep like being better at being podcasters the best we know how, and continue to make content for you guys to enjoy. And so we appreciate your support, we really do, and we're just going to keep trying our best to be able to do so. And so we hope that you also I hope you feel that way as well. So that's my heart to heart, I guess. It kind of goes well with Wyatt's, I think. But E, do you got one?
Yeah, I would say that going along with the whole idea of like that I previously talked about in heart to heart of like just enjoying every step along the way as much as I can. To go along with that is I feel like I'm at a place where right now I just want to just like get on the offensive and just like aggressively attack all of the things that I'm trying to work on, because like the amount of time, at least for me personally, from I have an idea of like, oh, I think this would be really good, I should do this, to then the time I actually like get around to like bringing it into reality, that time for me is a bit slower than I'd like it to be. And so learning to like not get too upset with myself for not having done more than I have right now, but focusing on the opportunity that I have laid out in front of me to like right now do everything I can to like get this stuff off the ground. Like this project that I've been working on is definitely one of those, which I'm going to be super excited about to like finally get up and running and started. And it's definitely something I should have done way, way, way long ago, but it's something that I'm actually getting around to now. And so I'm just trying to just attack it on every front, and just all of the stuff that I'm doing on all of the areas of my life. I just want to be showing up each and every day and capitalizing on where I'm at right now to the best of my ability, knowing that if I do that, the vision that I have of a future is going to be for certain. Like if I wake up every day and I just go like balls to the wall, like attacking the day as much as I can, doing more work than anybody else who's next to me, like there's no way I'm not going to do it. There's just no shot. Like if I have absolute certainty and then I have the actions to go along with that certainty, there's no chance it doesn't happen. And I feel like that's the case for like almost anything you could set your mind to and that you're working on. Like if you have what you're wanting to do, you know what you need to do it, and then you just get up each and every day and you start chipping away at it, you're gonna get there. Like it's not a question of like if it's gonna happen. It's like it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. And then if you're patient and you just learn to enjoy the process, you're literally just big chilling and vibing the whole time. So that kind of touches a little bit on like connects with like what Y was saying, because like I've definitely like there are things that I've been like trying to get out that I've been egregiously slow on, but instead of focusing and beating myself up about it, I'm just gonna just kick ass tomorrow, and then I'm gonna wake up and I'm just gonna do the same thing, and I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna keep on like putting in the work, and then I'm gonna end up where I'm gonna end up.
Beautiful.
So that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all need to hear that, because this week was stressful. It was just from a perspective of, and like everybody said, there's enough room for everybody to eat, but when you first see it, it's like shit. Like like you just kind of think about it for a second, you're like, what do I do? And I think there was definitely a lot of moments for that. I think Enoch was always calm, but like me and Finn definitely were stressing. So,
bro, I pulled up that day. You guys were geeking in the chat.
Dude, we were. Well,
I had to scroll through that conversation. I was like, "What is wrong with these two guys?"
Dude, we were stressed. We were stressed to say the least. And I have no problem. I have no problem divulging that to people too, because it's one of those things, man. When you're in this field, it's like everybody's trying to win, and not everybody can, but we have a really solid fan base, and we appreciate everybody who listens, and we needed to just chill the fuck out. That's what we needed to do.
We're not going absolutely anywhere, dude. If anything, this just increases the podcast. Like this increases the, like, think about it this way. Like people can only listen to, like, if each of these podcasts are putting out like say like max 2 hour long episode, and they're doing it every week. We now have like what, 3, like
that's one work
really
shift.
Strong, solid options. Like you got Wiggs Wide Swing, you got the After Hours that fall out soon, then you got us, you got Wyatt's OG crew, and then whoever I don't even know, like the other guys that are good.
Yeah.
But like the more, especially like the Fallout, the Nice Week, that's going to bring so much more of like the mainstream Apex community into the fact of like, okay, there's a podcast. And once they like the idea of like listening to a podcast, they're going to be like, okay, I like listening to a podcast, but there's only out for 2 hours a week. Why would they not want to watch us? I mean, like, why would they not want to listen to us? Like, I feel like this is so much more of a good thing than a bad thing. And it's just going to just get more mainstream. And like, it's just like, we're just dubbing here.
Yeah,
like,
I wish you were here.
Like, why are we tripping at all? Like, we're actually just, we've positioned ourselves so well to be like, we're kind of like more so out of all the Apex podcasts and more connected to like what people would consider the mainstream Twitch Apex community. And so like, as Wig and all of them bring those people into the podcasting space, we're chilling. We're looking pretty nice. And our content is fire. Like, we make really good podcast episodes. Like, I'm biased as hell, but our content is like good as fuck. And so I'm not tripping, and I don't think anybody should.
Yeah, I wish you were there at like 2 a.m. when I was staring at the ceiling, just being like, my life is over. Yeah, because I literally could not sleep. I was just staring at the roof. I was like, fuck, I'm over. No, it is, but you're correct, because even if all of if every show that is about Apex you listen to, you maybe get through 2 work days, which is 8 hours each, right? Let's assume like a regular work day. And then you still have like 3 days left before the week's over. Plenty of content to go around. I was acting a fool. Me and Finn were both acting a fool. And we just needed to take a step back and realize that. But there's plenty of good Apex content out there now. So much happening right now. And people we really respect out there too, like, are doing really good things for the community. And that was the way we needed to view it. And that's what this heart to heart's all about, being vulnerable, showing the sides that, you know, we're not always thinking with our right mind and we're not always thinking presently, but we always find a way to get over the hill and get on the other side. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we appreciate y'all for hopping in for another episode of the Apex the Podcast. Don't forget to click the link down below to follow along to all of our social medias, as well as our Discord, where you can talk all Apex all the time, or maybe not. You can talk life, whatever. That's what the Discord is for. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode. See you.